It's the final, well, it's not quite the final one, but it's the final one for which I need to do a boatload of work. So, welcome everybody to Kingdom Hearts Dark Road.
I've had a 12-hour workday. It's about 8 o'clock at night. Let's fucking go.
This is going to be an interesting one because you've had a 12-hour work day. I've got about a 50-hour work week behind me, so we're both already entirely fried. And now we're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts, so that's only going to make things better without a shadow of a doubt. But remember Union Cross?
Kind of.
Just pretend like you do. Remember how Union Cross ended?
God
Mind-blown moment of who our player character ended up being.
damn it. Nope.
Well, we're going to revisit that because we start the game with a flashback to our adventures in Union Cross. It's the same app, so it actually displays your player character. But then we fade to Xehanort on the beach, a single tear rolling down his face, noting that he had that dream again. He's been having the same dream for as long as he can remember at point in his life. He doesn't recognize the people inside those dreams, but he knows that they're all friends, and he desperately wants to go out and meet them. But stuck on the island, there's not a lot of people around, not a lot of friends to be meeting, so he gets the idea in his head that he needs to go out to the rest of the universe, see other worlds to find these friends of his from his dreams.
As a bad guy, I can't take him seriously in this art style.
No, and that's very, very good because he's the protagonist of this game.
Alrighty then.
This is Xehanort's backstory. And for a little bit of background for anybody who missed the Union Cross episode or is just forgotten it, technically we're still playing as the same character because at the end of Union Cross, our player character died and got the choice of either joining their hearts together with the Charity and becoming a Dream Eater spirit, or reincarnating into another heart and having another lifetime ahead. And as this is being explained to the player character in Union Cross, we see a scene of Xehanort as a baby being given away to a man in a black robe, or not a black robe, no, a blue robe, and Xehanort growing up on the Destiny Island, giving a very strong implication that our character reincarnates into Xehanort. So the dude who's been behind everything, if you don't count Master of Masters, throughout the entire series has been our player character in Union Cross, and we're now actually playing as Xehanort in Dark Road, seeing how he got to be who he eventually is.
Because we're the bad guy after all.
So
it was Xehanort all along.
Oh my god, no, please don't. It was us all along. That's the fucking mind-blown moment. As Xehanort is reminiscing about these dreams and wanting to meet these friends of his from his dreams, cue a brown robe guy showing up just out of nowhere. This is time traveling and some Seeker of Darkness, the Heartless.
It's good that they that we have established some sort of color code by now. We have the black robes and the blue robes, and now we have brown robes.
Yeah, no, it's brown robe was the very first one. That was in
Right.
Kingdom Hearts 1. Which this guy's just kind of been chilling on Destiny Islands from this moment forward.
For the last millennia or whatever.
Well, we'll get a little bit into time in this episode. But Xehanort here is about 15, 16 years old, and at a few points during this game, we flash forward to birth by sleep era time, and that tends to be a 65 year time jump into the future, and birth by sleep is 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 1. So all this is taking place about 75 years before Kingdom Hearts 1. The brown robe dude has just been chilling in the cave on Destiny Islands for that entire time. Since this event. Anyway, he's like, dude, you're on the island, you want to move out, we understand. Here's a dark portal, go step in it and see what ends up happening, because that's definitely a good idea.
We've got candy.
Join the dark side, we've got cookies.
Come into my dark portal.
He steps through, but we don't see what happens yet, because we skip some time And we see Xehanort chilling in Scala at Kylum when he is joined by his best friend in the entire world, Ericus.
Yay.
Ericus is like... These are the two main characters of this game. Obviously, this focuses on Xehanort's backstory and his friendship with the dude who eventually he ended up killing. Fun.
Whoops.
I don't like Ericus in this game because he feels nothing like the actual character in Birth by Sleep.
Well, people can change over time.
People can change over time, but like, for Xehanort, you kind of see, and you will note this as we go along, like the beginnings of who he ends up being is there, but he's still a different person. Like, he's a good guy here. He's trying to protect the light. He isn't all about darkness yet, but you can kind of see where he's going. Ericus is just an entirely different person. Which, to be fair, all the shit that's about to go down would definitely traumatize somebody into being the cynical dick that Ericus ends up being, so...
Well, with everything we've seen so far, I'm surprised that he's the first who's been that much affected by everything.
That's fair. Sora's just always still happy. He's died like 3 times. Everybody around him has like died a couple of times.
Sora's just dead on the inside, and there's just nothing that can get through to him, I guess.
He's also dead on the outside in the moment, so...
At the moment, yeah.
Until Kingdom Hearts 4, at least. Anyway, he asks Xehanort, that being Ericus, what is it like out there, beyond this world? Xehanort came from the outside world, which Ericus has never seen. He says that there's all these other towns in Scala, which we can see in like Kingdom Hearts 3 when we run through it, but they're all deserted, they're all abandoned. So Xehanort could have not come from one of those. He must have come from an actual other world. And Xehanort's like, or maybe I just fell out of the sky. Come on, let's get to class.
Sure.
So they get to class because they're in Keyblade school. They're literally just Jedi at this point. Which brings me to a bunch of characters to introduce. Like, a lot.
They're Jedi with Gandalf in the room?
Yeah, the teacher is literally just Gandalf. Which is also, compared to all the Kingdom Hearts designs here, like the Gandalf design here is so under-designed.
Yeah.
It's just a dude in a bathrobe.
The rest is fabulous as fuck.
Yeah. From the top left to the bottom right, we've got Vor. You can see my cursor, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hermo. Bragi. Let me make sure that this is correct. Erd. And then Ericus and Xehanort. I don't think I need to point those out. They are being taught by their Keyblade Master, Master Odin. And I don't know if that text is coming through the stream compression, but this is a meme that I've been sitting on for literally a year. Can you, for anybody who's just listening, real quick explain what I did?
Yeah, it's the scene from that is Ragnarok, right?
Ragnarok.
Right. The flashback of Thor with his father, Odin. And Thor saying, I can't win. I'm nothing without my Keyblade. To which Odin says, what are you? Xehanort, god of Keyblades?
With their faces photoshopped over Thor and Odin. Yeah, so I made this like a year ago as a gag on Discord. More than a year ago. Like at the time when this was coming out, I made this. And I had to scroll back very far to find this again. But yeah, their master is literally called Master Odin. All of these guys are Norse gods.
That's one mythology we hadn't integrated in here yet. So, yeah, why not? It's all like, Disney anyway now.
Disney doesn't own Norse mythology.
Oh yeah, they do.
I mean, they own that characterization of Thor, but that's about it. And all the other characters.
And Odin and Odin, yeah.
That's specific, but like those are very like loose interpretations to begin with, especially Loki.
Yeah.
Did you know that in actual Norse mythology, Loki fucks a horse?
I did not know that.
And he's the one that gets pregnant. So I would say that Marvel's interpretation of these characters is quite loose.
Well, at this point, Loki is a literally is time and space. So
he's inside every horse, is what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, no Thor or Loki. I don't know what it is with the entire media industry just deciding, it's probably Marvel, to be honest, to just, like, we had God of War going all Norse, now we have the Norse gods in this. I don't know, I kind of like it because we'd had, like, a couple of decades of every movie under the sun doing Greek gods.
Yeah, and before that we had Egyptian.
Yeah.
It's just a cycle. After this, we'll probably then go Roman, I guess.
Which is just Greek gods with different names.
Yes.
Like, literally. He tells us that there are 7 upperclassmen, and that's not the screenshot that I wanted to show yet. But
These are the Power Rangers.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some upperclassmen, some kids that are almost ready to be Keyblade Masters, but as Keyblade wielders get close to being ready for their Mark of Mastery exam, they're allowed to go outside Scala and explore the worlds to broaden their horizons, to become more wise before taking up the title of Keyblade Master.
They're doing a gap year?
They're doing a gap year.
They're doing a gap year backpacking.
Yeah. Except during their backpacking gap year, all 7 of them have gone missing.
Obviously.
And Odin's like, okay, you guys go deal with that, literal children. I'm gonna just sit back here and do nothing.
So, the older children have gone missing.
I'm glad you immediately see
instead of the adults
logic.
going after that, they're sending even younger children.
Yes. The almost graduated kids couldn't handle themselves, so let's send in the first years.
Responsibility.
Odin says that the technique for traveling between worlds usually wouldn't be taught to lower classmen like this group over here, but he needs them to go out and see if they can find anything out about the experiences. Ericus, for one, is stoked to be actually getting to learn secret shit, and the rest of the group's like, dude, sit the fuck down and don't be so happy. There's people missing, potentially dead. The fuck is wrong with you?
Well, you can still be excited for new stuff.
I kind of vibe with Ericus. Like, I said I don't like Ericus in this game. I like Ericus in this game. I just don't like that it's the same character that we already know. Like, the characters don't match. I very much vibe with anything Ericus actually says in this game, because he just doesn't care. He just wants to have fun.
I mean, the first time I learned how to put out a fire was, when there was a fire. The fact that there was a fire wasn't fun, but, learning to put out the fire, that was fun.
I mean, that's fair. That's true. Anyway, Xehanort says that, we should go looking out for them. But Vor turns in and says that they shouldn't forget about Baldur, because we are doing Norse mythology.
Wait, who now?
Baldur, which is not in the classroom at the moment. So if you're like, hey, you didn't mention him yet, that's true. We'll get to him.
All right.
Odin explains that Baldur, which, that's another one, by the way, Norse mythology, Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Baldur, though, won't be joining them on this mission, because one of the upperclassmen that has gone missing is his older sister, and he doesn't want to worry Baldur with any bad news until they actually have bad news.
Wait, but you need to take the boulder, because no one can defeat the boulder. Oh, that's a different character.
That's a different character and a different spelling.
Yeah.
We get a quick recap of the Keyblade War and how it split all the worlds apart. We've had this a bunch of times, so I'm not going to bother you too much with it, but we do focus on a different aspect of it right now, because it explicitly explains that after every world drifted apart after the Keyblade War, time flows differently in each of these worlds now, depending on how quickly they are being restored to their former state, which I think also implies that they reset after the Keyblade War. So they just got they went back to the home menu on the Blu-ray. I think
they just did a Control-Alt-Delete, Alt-F4, nuke all the programs thingy.
So I don't, because every movie or every world we go to at this point is just like the start of the Disney movie or just before the start of the Disney movie. So it's the world still rebuilding from being destroyed during the Keyblade War.
We're back to factory settings.
Yeah, but I don't know if before the Keyblade War, all that played out as well, or if they were just having different lives back then. It seems to me like a world being destroyed and then coming back might reset it back to its default state. Don't quote me on that.
All right.
At this point, because this is the last game, like the last full game that we're doing, we're getting dangerously close to a point where you know as much as I do. But in some of the worlds, that might have already been rebuilt. Other worlds, however, might have not rebuilt quite yet. So they need to be careful about interfering with stuff. Because when a world is already rebuilt, they can't really like butterfly affect it too much, right? But if it's still in the process of rebuilding itself, if they mess up a little bit too much, the course of that world and that world's like natural order might be entirely fucked up. And you don't want that because Daddy Odin says so.
Yeah, that sounds kind of fucked up to just fuck around and find out, but I guess we're gonna.
But Xehanort, on the other hand, says, hold on. But what if it's the other way around? What if rebuilt worlds have a established order because they are functioning worlds, but the worlds that are still in the process of rebuilding, maybe we can actually like experiment a little bit there, right? Because if there's no order yet, there's no order to go against.
Oh, we can tweak it a bit.
But everyone's like, that sounds interesting. Probably shouldn't do that, though.
That sounds kind of imperialistic and stuff. Yeah, maybe not.
Oh, we're gonna get to fucking America in a moment. Don't you worry.
Okay.
They all prepare to head out, allowing you to choose one of the other characters to join your party. Your party in this game is always, almost always, Xehanort, Ericus, and one of the others. And the majority of the time, you get to choose which one, unless one of them is like out of the story for whatever reason. So they all equip their Keyblade armor, turning again, yes, literally just into Power Rangers with the color schemes.
Yeah.
And they head out to go search for the upperclassmen. Their first stop is Proto Agrabah, which is just Agrabah in the process of rebuilding. So this is literally like 5 minutes before the start of the movie. Where they immediately run into Heartless. But I will note, and this is gonna require you to dig deep into your mind and memories, these are Emblem Heartless, not Pureblood Heartless.
That tells me absolutely nothing.
Exactly. Emblem Heartless were created by Xehanort after the events of Birth by Sleep. So how the fuck are they around at this time?
We knew that Xehanort was time travel, timey-wimey fucking aroundy.
There's no answer.
What now?
The game legitimately asks this question. They're like, these special Heartless with these emblems on them, they're different from the Purebloods. In the ancient past, they were projected into the worlds by the Book of Prophecies. That's the reasoning they had in Union Cross for these existing way back in the ancient past. Because the Book of Prophecy saw them and they could project them into the real world through that. But that surely isn't what they're doing now. And then the game just never revisits this question.
Alrighty then.
So it's not even lampshading. It's just mocking me at this point. If you want to cover up your plot holes, don't bring them up and then don't actually cover them up, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is just a tactic. If you just mention these kind of weird things, you can fill the time in between games on the subreddit by just crafting theories and all that shit. And in the next game, it's just you thought you knew, but
I think they just kind of forgot to add an answer to that, to be honest, because this game has 7 chapters, and the first 3 chapters, I believe, of which started releasing after Union Cross finished. So after Union Cross, a couple of months later, we had chapter 1, which we're going through right now, and then a couple of months even later, we got chapter 2, and then eventually we got chapter 3, and then the game got discontinued because they were like, maybe we want to focus onto something that's not this particular app anymore. Lots of meta reasons, which we won't go into right now for the sake of time. And then, half a year later, they just dropped the last 4 chapters of the game all at once, and they took out all the microtransactions, which is good, except that the game is definitely still balanced around them. So this game sucks.
Fun.
I think they just kind of wrote those last 4 chapters so that they had something to wrap it up and entirely forgot about this point being brought up in chapter 1.
Yeah, that could very much be.
Because you will notice, after we leave chapter 3, the tone of this entire thing shifts quite dramatically. I feel like originally this was supposed to be much longer. They discussed that these Heartless that they're fighting right now seem pretty weak, and that the upperclassmen definitely weren't killed by these weakling Heartless. And Erica says, yeah, they're probably not missing due to the Heartless, because let's do a little experiment here, right? If you ran into a strong Heartless that you couldn't beat, what would you do? And Xehanort says, I would fight it. And Bragi says, I would run the fuck away.
Yeah.
Proving Erica's point that they couldn't have all died against Heartless, because some of them would have run away.
I'm with them running away.
Me too, 100%. If you can't beat them, get to safety. But it's very unlikely that all 7 upperclassmen would have chosen, like Xehanort, to stay and fight. Some of them would have had a brain, presumably, because they made it to almost being Keyblade Masters. Then again, we know quite a few Keyblade Masters, and most of them are very dumb. So, the fuck do I know?
Yeah, true.
They wonder, though, what if there are Heartless that are so strong that you can't run from them? And Erica shrugs it off, saying he would run faster than he would ever run before. Ha ha ha. Erica's are so funny. Not really. They go
That
into
doesn't
town.
make any sense.
I mean, at some point, you can like Dragon Ball this, right? If something is so powerful and you try to run away, it just like portals back in front of you because it's so effortless for it to just keep up with you, I suppose. But that's quite a reach to assume that that's what happened to all 7 upperclassmen still. So they go into town to see if there's any more clues there. And there they see it's entirely empty. There's no people here yet. Figuring that when a world rebuilds, maybe the buildings and the objects and just like the set dressing is the first thing that returns, and then the living people are the last thing to come back. And that's kind of just the conclusion that they come to. They also think that the Heartless will disappear once the people come back. We know for a fact that that is not the case, because the entire Kingdom Hearts series happened.
Yeah. Also, just weird conclusion. They're just gonna fuck off if the people are around, or are the people gonna murder them?
I don't remember the exact dialogue, but I think it's along the lines of, as long as there's no people around here, the Heartless have like free reign to spread their darkness, but the moment there's people around, darkness, hearts, keyblades, Heartless, scared. I don't know.
Lore, blah blah stuff.
I'm sure there was a reason and I just didn't write it down, or maybe there wasn't, I don't fucking know. What I do know is that after going around Agrabah, seeing that there's literally nothing there other than just empty fruit stalls, they all go back to meet up in Scala and discuss what happened.
They're not staying around for another Arabian Night?
Oh, they'll be back.
Alright.
They'll be back. But only once actual characters show up, because you can't have cutscenes with no Disney characters in it. They just kind of discuss and recap what just happened, and then go out into a different world to do some more searching. It's kind of formulaic at this point. But we skip into the future. We see a, what's the opposite of a flashback? A flash forward?
I guess, yeah.
We're going to call it a flash forward. 4 years later, we see Xehanort putting some flowers on a grave when Ericus joins him. Asks Xehanort, are you leaving? And Xehanort says, yeah, I am. Ericus tells him that what happened isn't Xehanort's fault. And Xehanort just says that he wants to see what's out there before the Mark of Mastery exam comes up. So this is just before Xehanort and Ericus themselves do the Mark of Mastery 4 years into the future. Ericus says that you've already seen what's out there. We've been on this whole adventure that the player is about to go on. What is there left to see? And Xehanort simply replies, I haven't seen everything. I need to go out there. I need to see more. As Xehanort starts to leave, Ericus reminds him, you better come back. They have a score to settle. He is at 117 wins, 312 losses, and 8 draws in their totally not chess game. Xehanort looks back, saying, surely you mean 107 wins, 323 losses, and 7 draws. Ericus just smiles, saying that I knew I could get you to turn around and face me. good luck on your journey. And that's how chapter 1. They're friends. If nothing else, this game does really do a good job of establishing, like, no, these two are actually, like, really good friends.
Also, I hate the fucking trope.
Smart characters good at chess.
Well, yeah, that too.
Because I hate that one.
Well, but it ain't chess, so. No,
Fair.
just the foreshadowing of what happened is not your fault. Yeah, but it is. No, it's not. Fuck
Yeah.
off, just get to it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's kind of cheap. It's the end of chapter 1. We haven't really had anything interesting other than there is a mystery about the upperclassman. And at the end of chapter 1, there's like, oh, he's in a graveyard. And what happened wasn't his fault. Something is about to go fucking down. It's a little cheap.
Storytelling-wise, I get it, but it just seems...
I feel like this wasn't needed at the end of chapter 1. Because we had the mystery of the upperclassmen are missing. What's happening? We can probably, like, this doesn't add that much, in my opinion. Because we probably know that something has gone horribly wrong. We don't need a scene of Xehanort literally sitting at, presumably, these people's graves. Anyway, chapter 2, though, we go to Wonderland, where there's actual characters. So let's have some fun. Because the moment they enter Wonderland, they run into the Cheshire Cat, who shows up and just says to them that, hey, you guys are waiting for your friends? Because it's just the 3 of them. It's just Ericus, Xehanort, and Bragi. The rest of them, they all decided, or agreed, rather, to meet up here. And the Cheshire Cat shows up like, you're gonna be waiting for a while, because they're not really in a spot where they can, like, leave. Because they're being put on trial, apparently. And the rest are like, on trial? I'm sorry, what?
Okay.
That doesn't sound good.
Who decided to bring weed to a country where it's not legal? God damn it.
They're in Wonderland. If any Disney World, weed is legal.
Yeah.
It's Wonderland. The people in Wonderland are on way stronger stuff, like 24/7.
Yeah. Shrooms all the way down.
Yeah, Wonderland is just one big LSD trip. So they go to the trial and they see that the remaining classmates are on trial for trespassing, I guess. Who cares? And Eric is like, okay, let's bust them out of this trial, Keyblade style, and go home. But Xehanort jumps in like, whoa. We literally just left home. Do you remember what the master said? Don't meddle in the world's order. Maybe don't go in Keyblade swinging. That doesn't seem like something that we should be doing. So
also, if they're innocent, they're gonna be fine. They're just
it's the Queen of Hearts now.
Yeah.
She really likes chopping people's heads off.
True.
So instead, they just run in without Keyblades and pretend to be lawyers.
Alrighty then.
Saying that this justice system is actually insane. Which...
It is.
But that's still going against the world's order.
Yeah, very much.
I mean, they're right. But, like, their methodology still doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, I'm with Eric, because let's just beat these people up, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, lawyering up against the Queen of Hearts doesn't really do that much, but Xehanort notices some darkness around the Queen of Hearts, which turns into a boss fight for us to fight and then run away.
What a surprise that the Queen of Hearts would have darkness.
You wouldn't have guessed, right?
Nah.
After all that, they regroup and discuss. I don't know if I have a screenshot of this. I do. Hermod says that they have to worry about a more dangerous threat than the normal Heartless. The darkness inside people's hearts. Just like we just saw with the Queen. And the Queen in this world rules through fear. But if that's this world's order, should they really interfere with that? Earth says, yeah, who do you think we are? America? We can't be bringing our freedom to the rest of the world just because we think it's right.
America, fuck yeah.
Bragi notes that, and I am fully aware that whenever I say a name, you don't know who I'm talking about.
Nope.
Bragi is the redhead? Brunette? I don't know. This guy. Notes that it's an interesting point and about messing with the world order, and asks what Xehanort thinks. Could the upperclassmen have been touched or corrupted by the darkness? This causes a flashback to Union Cross, with Brain saying, darkness could hide anywhere, even inside a person's heart. And in the present, both Ericus and Xehanort say the exact same line at the exact same time.
Oh my god, twinsies, we're so in sync.
I mean, that's part of it, but this actually goes a fair bit deeper.
That means that they had the same flashback?
Kind of. This is not explicitly confirmed anywhere, but it's pretty much confirmed, and we'll get into it a little bit in a moment. Xehanort, of course, is having this flashback due to his heart being linked to our player character in Union Cross.
Right, his previous life.
Yes. Ericus, however, is saying the exact same thing, and it's a line that was said by Brain. Ericus also, later in this game, and in some Xehanort report at some point, is referred to as being near royalty, descending from one of the original masters. He eventually gets Brain's original Keyblade. It is all but confirmed that Brain is Ericus's great-great-grandfather or something. Some kind of ancestor. So presumably this is a story that's passed down specifically through their family as well. Are you right yet?
Yeah, kind of. It still makes sort of sense.
The reason that I'm taking a moment here to explain that is because they do make a point out of it in this scene where they both say it and they look at each other almost like a, how do you know that? Anyway, they discuss could the darkness fit so deep inside somebody's heart that the person himself might not even know that it is there, while Ventus cries from Union Cross. And if so, could you turn your Keyblade on someone who is actually innocent and has no idea what they have become? Which is quite a heavy question.
Yeah.
4 years later, again, we see Xehanort on his journey across the worlds after setting out, and he comes back up to the Queen of Hearts. And she's like, who the fuck are you? And Xehanort's like, you don't remember me, bitch? And the Queen's like, I'm too important to remember, people. You're on trial now. You're trespassing, you're gonna off with his head. That's what I do. And her darkness flares up once again, causing Xehanort to just say, yeah, I figured as much. And that's the end of chapter 2.
Is he just going around and kicking people in the shin just to get the darkness out of there? No, well, not out of there, but...
Kind of, not really. You'll maybe remember in Remind, the Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC, Xehanort had a little talk with the Master of Masters after or sometime during this journey that he's going on 4 years from I want to establish, when I say present time in this entire episode, I mean the present time from the perspective of this game.
Just the main timeline of this.
Main timeline of specifically this game. When I say present time, I don't mean Kingdom Hearts 3 time or Kingdom Hearts 4 time. I mean young Xehanort being a student time. Because I'm going to say present time quite a lot. So he has a little conversation with the Master of Masters about looking into people's hearts and seeing what light and darkness actually are, and is light worth saving, and does darkness exist everywhere? That same cutscene also happens in this game, so we'll revisit it when we get to it. But that's kind of what he's doing here. He's just going up into worlds, looking into people's hearts, what is actually going on in there? And that is eventually the seed that makes him think no, we probably should be having just darkness rule everything, because everybody has darkness in the heart anyway.
Oh, everybody's corrupted to some point, so let's just make everything corrupt. Sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much... I mean, I didn't say that's a good philosophy. He's still the villain.
Yeah.
Anyway, at the start of chapter 3, we are now back in present time. These flash forwards usually happen at the end of the chapter. So at the end of chapter 2, we get that. Chapter 3, we rejoin Xehanort as he walks through a corridor of darkness. This is him going from Destiny Islands and eventually ending up in Scala. But while he is surrounded by the darkness, he hears the darkness whisper to him, filling him with emotions like hate and doubt and anger, feeling his heart slowly get drenched deeply in this darkness. In the present, however, we are still in Wonderland, because this is actually a fun world. We run into the Mad Hatter and the other wacky characters in Wonderland. They don't really matter. The only thing that Xehanort and Ericus, and Vor is with them, I guess, notice is that they are filled with fear for the Queen. The Queen here rules with fear, and the Queen is kind of like filled with darkness. But these characters, they're also filled with fear, but that fear hasn't manifested in darkness. They seem much more fun and carefree, even though deep down there's fear, there isn't darkness. So here we're starting to think about, there is like a gradient to this, right? It's not the moment you feel afraid, darkness just erupts.
Well, having thinking of light and darkness as just good and evil, fear isn't necessarily evil.
We'll get to that. I think this game specifically does a lot for adding nuance to light and darkness just being good and evil.
I mean, it's good to have fear for some things.
Yeah, but like pretty much any emotion in the right doses is a good thing, because like that's why it evolved in our brains.
Yeah, true.
I don't think they're not fun emotions always, but every emotion has a actually like productive purpose, and that's kind of what we're getting at later in this game as well, where it goes the other way. Like things that we usually think are positive can still be a starting point and a birthplace for something that then becomes negative. But we'll get to that in like chapter 4 or something. They figure that learning more about the darkness is their best shot at learning what happened to the upperclassmen. Because at this point they're still looking for them, but they have no idea, like, are they even on the right track? I don't know. Seems like this darkness thing might be a thing worthwhile investigating. So they go back to check on the Queen. And they ask, hey lady, how did you get so much darkness? And she just kind of yells at Xehanort, so he concludes, probably comes from her wrath. Lots of anger.
Well, I mean, what would you do if there was 3 kids after you've put them on trial for trespassing, and then
they come back to insult you?
Then some other kids busted them out of the trial, and then they come back like, why are you such a bitch?
I mean, again, fair. We know that the Queen is evil, but in this scenario, like, our heroes, some of them are heroes, are definitely in the wrong.
Yeah.
Which ties back into the, hey, maybe don't mess too much with the world order. But as Xehanort figures, okay, so her darkness comes from wrath and anger and resentment and all that kind of stuff. It prompts a flashback to a classroom where Master Odin explains that in ancient times, darkness was able to feed off of people's emotions and hide inside their hearts. Hey, we've talked about this before in Union Cross. There was 13 of them. And though it was able to spread that way, over time, people's hearts begin growing darkness out of their own negative emotion. So not all darkness is birthed from the 13 ancient darknesses. Those are just like floating clouds. People birth their own darkness through emotion. Presumably they also birth their own light through positive emotion, though. I don't know. In the present, again, we're jumping a lot back and forth. The Queen's darkness shows up as a big boss fight again, and we beat it, and I think that's the end of Wonderland. After all that, we go home, and we talk again a little bit more. They couldn't have this conversation in Wonderland for some reason, I don't know. Xehanort figures that by pursuing the darkness, their light may be the thing casting shadows, and rather than fixing things, making them worse. And in much the same way, the upperclassmen, who are presumably stronger, might have attracted even stronger darkness in turn as well. They discuss the Queen and tell that it's hard to say if the darkness that they sensed in her was her own or just darkness inhabiting her in the sense of what happened in ancient times. But to Xehanort, it doesn't really matter. Darkness is darkness. And if that's the world's order, that the Queen maintains order through that, they can't do shit about it. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Ericus doesn't like this at all, saying darkness is bad, end of discussion, no room for like nuance there. Darkness is just evil, we gotta destroy darkness. Keyblade wielders, that's our job, fighting darkness.
Why is everybody always hating on the philosopher? Just, how about some fucking shades of grey, not just
I don't know, how many do you
literally
want?
light and dark. I
How
don't
many
know.
shades do you want?
75.
75. Okay, we'll try. We'll try. I think we can manage that. At least Xehanort can. Ericus definitely can't.
No.
We flash back to 1 week ago, and now we get to see Baldur, the white-haired dude.
Yeah.
Who is joined soon after by Ericus. Baldur says that his sister left for the Mark of Mastery exam journey, but he has a bad feeling about all this. When she left, she told him that the ones who would return will be made Keyblade Masters. But that kind of implies that Odin knows not all of them will return.
But what do you mean the ones who will return? Are you sending kids on a fucking deadly mission, you goddamn wizard bastard?
That's what it implies. So Baldur thinks that the trip itself might be the test, rather than just being to broaden the horizons.
That would make sense.
It makes sense until you think about, okay, but if that's the case, that works for one class, and every year under that will know that secret.
Yeah, and also it's probably
Somebody's fucking
it's
dying
kind
out
of a
there.
yeah.
Holy shit. Sorry, yeah.
Someone on your side needs a wee woo.
Yeah, there's some darkness around here, I think.
Well,
Let's keep going.
at this point they've lost the entire class, so your exam kind of sucks.
I mean, let's recap the different Mark of Mastery exams that we've come across in the series so far, okay? Because there's a definite disparity between some of them.
Yeah.
These kids is go out in the world and have an adventure. If you survive, you become a master. Which is, I would say, actually, like, kind of decent.
Well, these kids just kind of have a Hunger Games. If you survive, you win. Yay.
Yeah, except there is still the possibility of all of them surviving. It's just like you go out into, like, the world. If the world beats your ass, you didn't deserve to be a Keyblade Master. If you manage to survive, you come back, you are a Keyblade Master.
And they're not fighting each other.
Yeah, they're just, like, when they run into darkness, they're fighting darkness, like, actually out in the field. This kind of makes sense to me as a Mark of Mastery exam. Sora and Riku had to go into a whole different fucking dimension and wake up 7 sleeping worlds to, like, save them and learn a special power, which seems on a different order of magnitude altogether.
Yeah, and then Ventus and Aqua and the other one.
Yeah, Terra.
They had a bit of a brawl in an arena.
Yeah, they had to hit a couple of balls of light.
Yeah.
I don't know, one of these is not like the others. To be fair.
They're all not like each other.
Well, yeah, but Sora's and this one are much closer together than the balls of light.
Yeah.
In Ericus' defense, though, probably is quite traumatized by this Mark of Mastery exam and the events of this game.
Yeah, that will make sense.
Which we'll get into. Because as we have already seen, people will fucking die. He says that he's worried about his sister having to face the darkness and not being able to overcome it and not ever coming back. And asking Ericus, your great-grandfather battled the darkness and died, didn't he? Or your grandfather? I don't know, one or the other. An ancestor. Which might literally just be Brain. I don't know. Ericus responds that he isn't sure what happened to him, but knows that hearing about the darkness makes him anxious. Maybe hating the darkness is just in his blood. And I've made a note to talk about Brain here, but we already did that. So that's the end of episode 3. We'll go through this a little bit quicker.
This whole idea of this being the Mark of Mastery exam, doesn't that just kind of breed like heartless boss fights with all the students who don't make it and become taken over by the darkness? Yeah.
No, I have no counter to that. It fully does.
just somebody take a look at this educational.
I don't know, man. We've had this guy, Master Odin, and I don't know where like Jens Sid fits into the hierarchy here. And we know that Ericus is like a pretty decent Keyblade Master to his students until like shit actually gets real, at which point he sucks. We've got Xehanort, which obviously is very bad. We've got Mickey, who... I mean, he did leave Aqua stranded in literal hell for, like, at least a little while. Which was also part of, like, Yen Sid's thing, and Yen Sid is very not helpful with anything. Again, Keyblade Masters are just the worst. And then we've got, like, the actual Master of Masters, which is just, like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with him. We think that these people are the good guys, but I am not so sure.
Yeah.
Maybe the darkness is actually the good side. Maybe Xehanort's done something. I don't know. So, Chapter 4. Let's move into it, because otherwise we're going to be here literally all night. We start off 1 year ago with the scene that we see in Kingdom Hearts 3 with Xehanort and Ericus playing the totally not chess game and talking about the Keyblade War. Xehanort's like, I wonder how the Keyblade War started, or rather, who wanted it to happen, and for who was it started, and what they wanted to do with Kingdom Hearts at the end of it. And who were the Lost Masters? And Ericus, you know about this shit, don't you? And Ericus is like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm definitely not keeping any secrets from you. So he's like, I'm on to you. You know shit. And that's about everything there is to that. But with the revelation of potentially Ericus being Brain's descendant, that might explain why Ericus knows stuff. In the present, Vor is talking to, or sees the Queen talking to, rather, the magic mirror on the wall in the Dwarf Woodlands. And she figures, hey, this mirror is pretty much like omniscient. We can just ask it where the upperclassmen are. That's it. Quest done, right?
Yeah.
So, instead of doing that, she goes to get Xehanort and Ericus so they can do it together. They have a little side adventure, saving the dwarves or some shit, but then they all go to see the mirror. And Ericus runs up saying, I want to know how to beat Xehanort at chess, which confirms that that game that they're playing indeed is chess.
God damn it.
Fuck. And the other two are just like, Ericus, shut up. And they ask, do you know anything about the upperclassmen? Don't answer the chess question, that's dumb. We have an actual question for you, Mr. Miro. So it responds, the friends you seek travel hither and yon along separate paths. Alone they forge on. So they're separated. We're like, okay, we can ask about them one by one. That works. So let's start with Vidar, which is the name of one of the upperclassmen. And the mirror is about to answer where Vidar is when the evil queen comes back and is like, who the fuck are you people? What are you doing in my room?
God damn it.
So she throws a potion at the mirror and turns it into a boss fight. After they beat up the mirror, the queen seemed to have just left the room.
How is a floating head in a mirror going to fight?
It absorbs them into the mirror. This also happened in Birth by Sleep. Apparently that's just something she can do in this universe. Don't think too much about it. It's just a reason to have a boss fight. It's just gameplay stuff. So after they beat the mirror up, the queen seems to have just like gone for a walk or something. She's not there anymore. So they're like, might as well try asking the mirror again. We just beat it up, but it'll probably still help us. So they go to ask it again, but off screen, a voice says, there's no need. As Vidar shows up. New character, you don't recognize him. That's right.
Well, they were just asking about him.
I would also like to note that this is like 2021, I believe, maybe 2020. Maybe a little early. I don't know, but this is like early 2020s, late 2010s, where we are at right now.
And we finally have our first dark-skinned character.
I was about to say that. This is the first dark-skinned character who isn't evil.
Progression.
Soon we'll have woman characters, female characters who can actually like deal with it.
With a character and stuff to do.
Man, we're getting somewhere, dude. It's not just white people. So yeah, Vidar shows up, except I say he's not evil. He isn't evil, but he's also like not exactly on our side. So, close but not quite. Vidar notes that he figured that the Master would sooner or later send out this group of people to come look for them if they didn't come home. They ask, if you're fine and you knew that, why didn't you just come home? Why did you need us to come out? But he doesn't answer that question, simply notes that Xehanort is indeed something special. Vidar can see why the Master took such an interest in him. And Vor, you've also got something in your mind, don't you? You're wondering if you really belong with these. Maybe instead of hanging out with them, you could come join us, upperclassmen, hang out with us, the older, cool kids. And Erica says, what, join you? You're coming home, right? We finally found you. That's our mission. You're coming home with us. And Vito says, no, I'm not coming home yet.
Well, it's also kind of funny that he says that Xehanort's special, and Vor, you can come chill with us. And
Ericus is just there.
and Ericus is like, I'm also here. Let's not do that. Please come home.
Pretty much, yes. You're not wrong. Again, Ericus is like just vibing through his entire game. I kind of like it. We'll get to my favorite moment in like the next chapter, I believe. But Vito says, I'm not coming home with you guys. At least not yet. There's still some things I need to do first. And for that, I could very much use Vor as one of my helpers. And we flash back to a scene of Vor when she first found the mirror. She did actually ask a question of it. And instead of asking about the upperclassmen, she was selfish and first asked a question about herself. Whether or not she would ever become a Keyblade Master. And it basically tells her that if she doesn't broaden her horizons and grow past the connections to her friends, she's not gonna grow that much. She's gonna stagnate.
But my friends are my power.
Yeah, but not for her. Fuck it.
Oh.
She explains to the guys that she's realized that if she wants to pass the exam, or when everybody passes their exam, they graduate, they'll all go their separate ways and they won't be friends any longer, and she doesn't want that. So she's like, I don't want to be a Keyblade Master, I just want to be friends. Erica says, no, nothing will change, everything will be fine. But Xehanort says, no, you're right, change is inevitable, you should embrace that. Just learn to form some new relationships, man. Which, he's right, but also kind of a dick.
Yeah, but those two things often go hand in hand.
Yeah, fair enough. Even Erica's like, dude, you didn't need to say that. Please, that doesn't sound good. But Vor agrees with Xehanort, like, yeah, no, I do need to step outside my bubble. The longer I stay in this like safe, comfortable bubble with you guys, the harder it is going to be for me to leave. So I'm going to go with Vidar, I'm going to hang out with them, have some new experiences.
Just find myself.
In a flashback, we see Vor and the entire class there. This time Baldur is also hanging out because he's actually part of this class. He'd be forgiven for forgetting that. And Vor asks everybody, why do all of you want to become Keyblade Master? And Ericus answers first, saying that, well, at first it was an obligation, more or less a family tradition. But now he knows that he needs to be a Keyblade Master to put an end to the darkness once and for all. Again, as Ventus and Terra scream in agony from the future.
Yeah.
Bragi says that Ericus is way too serious. For himself, he just wants to do the right thing. He just wants to do what's right and help the world out. Earth says she just wants to explore the world. She just wants to see what's out there. Just the Mark of Mastery tour for the rest of her life is what she wants to do, pretty much. She just wants to explore.
Just go around the world, and having a Keyblade seems useful at that point.
Yeah, maybe like helping out where she sees like unjust actions, that kind of thing. Yeah. She wants to protect the things that are important to her, whether that be actual people that are important to her or like principles. Hermod just kind of stands there drooling, not saying anything really relatable at all. I wrote, he's probably related to Kyrie. He just doesn't have a personality. You want to guess which one of these kids dies first? But then they all ask, the most important one has to answer still. Xehanort, who says, I don't really know why. I have friends that I want to meet and I want to see again. And maybe if I become a Keyblade Master, that will allow me to meet them once more. The friends from my dreams. And then they're all to Vor, asking, what about you? You ask a question to begin with. And she's like, I'm not telling you all. Wishes don't come true if you say them out loud. And now none of you are going to become Keyblade Masters. So we'll all stay friends forever.
Fucking bitch.
To be fair, small spoiler, none of these people's wishes do come true. So she's not wrong.
Yeah, but still, that's kind of a bitch.
Well, actually not entirely true. Because we do know that Xehanort does eventually meet Ventus.
Yeah.
which is one of the friends from his dream. So, maybe not.
Kind of unfortunate circumstances, but...
Yeah. Speaking of which, 64 years later,
Jesus Christ.
Xehanort's like, oh yes, that magic mirror. Maybe I should go ask him more about stuff that I want to know about. Now that
You know,
I'm an old man.
that omniscient thing that knows everything but tells it in a very cryptic way. That seems useful.
Yeah, I've just forgotten about this for the last 6 decades. It asks, do you remember me? And it responds that, yeah, but last time you had more hair. Xehanort explains that over the years he has lost many comrades. Some have passed on, others simply chose a different path. But what are the friends from his dreams? Were they ever even real to begin with? The mirror says, much lies beyond our world, even more beyond our time. Some in this world reside. Their toll has yet to chime. Xehanort's like, how do you know? I didn't even give you their names. I don't even know their names. And it says that Xehanort's heart speaks louder than his words. Xehanort asks, okay, so where are they now? The mirror answers, amongst an ocean of keys on a buried land, a boy bearing great light and darkness doth stand. Xehanort's like, oh, I know where that is. It's the Keyblade Graveyard. And he exits again through his dark portal, and we end off episode 4 or chapter 4. I don't remember what they're called. I go back and forth between episode and chapter.
So there's a boy of great light in...
Ventus. So that explains how Xehanort ended up taking Ventus under his wing. Because he literally just got told, hey, the plot needs you to be there right now. Okay, so we gotta back up a little bit here, because that was the end of chapter 4, and we're starting off chapter 5 also with a flash forward from current day. So 54 years after current time, so 10 years before this event.
Yeah.
Which is really, if you're just playing through this, of course you've had a couple of gameplay missions, and your point of reference is just current day. Going through just the cutscenes, it's a really weird jump from 64 years into the future to 54 years into the future to present day to 10 years in. It's weird. We see the conversation between Xehanort and Ericus that we also saw in Birth by Sleep, where Xehanort's like, I want to recreate the Keyblade War, and Ericus is like, I don't know, that sounds like genocide. Maybe don't do that. And Xehanort's like, fuck you, have some darkness in your face. That's pretty much all there is. It's just that cutscene in this art style, which, as you say, with normal, young Xehanort, even especially with this version of Xehanort,
Yeah.
I can't take him serious.
Abso-fucking-lutely not.
He looks like fucking Gargamel. Which is not Disney, so I don't know. We're jumping some more now. So we were 64 years into the future. Now we're 54 years into the future. The next scene, we're just 7 years into the future. So Xehanort and Ericus, still young men. They've both become Keyblade Masters. You can see they both have their respective Keyblades now. With Ericus having the Master Defender and Xehanort having no name. Gotta love that every single time it comes up. And they are talking about what else but Kingdom Hearts, just like we are.
Yay.
And they seem to have a very similar disagreement to the one in the scene before that happens 50 years in the future. Which is, man, this game is a mess. Xehanort says that Kingdom Hearts is the only way. Ericus is duly on my side there and says that it's their duty as Keyblade wielders that comes first, and they need to protect the light and stay away from Kingdom Hearts. But Xehanort says that this is the way to protect the worlds, using Kingdom Hearts as a way to safeguard the light. Ericus remarks that it's only been a year at this point since they were named Masters, and now all this is happening. Xehanort responds that they were both given a title of Master, but only Ericus is a true heir to, the Keyblade legacy. Ericus says that, no, Xehanort, you too have been given a Keyblade from the era of the Lost Masters, and with gaining that weapon, you were supposed to inherit the resolve from those Masters too. Xehanort just says that he's been thinking about the best way to protect the world, and I don't know, man, it just seems like Kingdom Hearts is the best way to protect all the worlds. Ericus says it's a bit of a drastic measure, and they can't be sure what the outcome is, saying that it could just wipe everything from existence. Xehanort raises his Keyblade, asking Ericus, do you stand in my way as a true Keyblade Master? Ericus also raising his Keyblade, saying, "No, as a friend." And they fight.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which is just so fucking sappy. But I like it. So now we finally go back to the present. No more time jumps for the time being.
Yay!
We're in the present, in the classroom, when Hermod comes in. He's doing a thing. He's not related to Kairi. He informs the rest that he can't find Master Odin. Erd wonders if they should keep going with their mission. Without the Master, they don't really have any direction to go in. Are they supposed to keep going? Should they stay put? I don't know. But they're pretty much all...
That's a very easy question. If your teacher is not around, you have a day off. Bye.
Pretty much, yes. All of these guys and girl come to a different conclusion though, and they're like, he gave us the mission, and he hasn't said that we should stop searching, so we should probably keep searching. So let's go out. We also lost Vor, so we kind of probably should go out to look for her too now.
At this point, your mission is -1.
Yes. We were supposed to come back with 7 more people, and we've lost 1.
Yeah.
Fuck. But she's with the people that we're searching for anyway. So 2 birds,
And
1
I'm
stone.
I'm not sure that makes it better.
Yeah, it means that they found the people that they were looking for and just failed bringing them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They go off to look for everybody some more. Meanwhile, though, Master Odin is just hanging out on the top of the tower in Scarlet Kylum when Vidar walks up to him. And Odin's like, "You came back? Hello."
Yay.
He warns Vidar that true darkness may be upon them soon. One of the 13 ancient darknesses of old. The 7 most powerful of which were imprisoned in the Keyblade Masters of the ancient times, foretellers, blah blah blah. 6 remaining, 4 were trapped in a realm between, that being the data cables. We've covered this in Union Cross. If you don't remember, go watch that.
Yeah.
And it is said that the other 2 remaining were destroyed in the world's collapse. But there's no real evidence of that, so Odin's a little sus on that assumption. And he thinks that it is finally time. The true darkness, one of them, has returned. And he warns Vidar that he must learn to distinguish between the many different kinds of shadows and darkness that exist, so that when he sees true darkness, he will recognize it. Xehanort and his crew, I think now without Erika's because they had a disagreement about something, or something rather, I don't know. He's with Erd and Hermod, anyway. They go to Peace Castle, where the furniture people are like, "Hey, Erd, you look like a girl. We need a girl for our movie plot and Belle hasn't arrived yet. Can you please go fuck our master?" And Erd's like, "No, I will not do that. Thank you very much."
It was worth a try.
Yeah. They just go see the beast and like, "Oh, I'm very glad that I didn't agree to do that because this is not even a person." What the fuck? But the beast seems to recognize their Keyblades. They're like, "You guys have Keyblades too, just like the fuckers who stole my rose?" And the group figures, "Oh, no. People with Keyblades stole his rose. The upperclassmen must be stealing shit. Fuck."
They've become delinquent youth. God damn it.
But why? Why did they steal this literal, animal man's rose? What is to gain there? So they go around okay, maybe if the rose is stolen, they're still around somewhere. We can ask them. They have to fight off a bunch of Heartless, and they get split up. Eventually, Erd, the white-haired girl, is saved by Vala, another white-haired girl with glasses in this case. And Vala says, "I've been watching you," to Erd, "for a while, and trying to judge whether or not you can help us upperclassmen in our goals." Erd reasonably asks, "Somebody just asked me to fuck a little animal, so I'm going to need you to explain what your goals are before I agree to anything." Vala says, "Nothing, really." She's just like, "Man, that piano in the background, that looks really good, doesn't it?" Sidestepping the question. Erd's like, "Yeah, but that's not what I asked about. Let's circle back to my question. What do you need me for?" Vala notes that, "You don't seem very good at obeying orders, do you? I don't think I'll take you with me after all. So,
Alright, goodbye.
Here's the rose. You can have it back. I'm just gonna go." Also, this other ninja guy is Vali, which is another upperclassman. So we've got Vala and Vali.
Just to make it more confusing.
Because we didn't have enough characters as it is, now the names sound similar. I fucking hate this game.
Yay.
I had the wiki page of this game's characters open on a second monitor while I was writing these notes, just to reference them, because these characters just don't matter. So don't feel bad about not remembering them. I'm not putting much effort into making you remember them.
Yeah. I mean, can anyone blame me for not remembering anything at this point? I mean, I haven't played through these. I've seen a slideshow and someone talking about it enthusiastically, but that's not the best way to retain information.
No, it's not. Anyway, they return to Rose.
But it's fun. But it's fun.
I don't care if it's fun. You're stuck here with me. But they do explain why they took it. They explain that the Rose is vital to this world's order, and they wanted to see what would happen if they took something that is vital to this world's order, the Rose, which is like a very important... They're literally stealing plot devices is what they're doing.
Yeah.
That is literally what they're doing. That's not even the way I say literally what's happening all the time when we just like overanalyze stuff. That is their plan. Find a plot device in every world and steal it.
So their plan is fuck around and find out.
Yes. Yes.
I like it.
Xehanort was just off screen during all of this, listening in, just so that he can know about everything that's happening.
That seems just a thing he does.
It seems like a very Xehanort thing to do, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just like, I think he might literally be leaning up against one of those pillars with his back. Like, with one of his feet resting against it, at like, you know the pose, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what he's doing, I think. We skip to 1 year later, with Xehanort in his Keyblade armor, in a corridor of dark. If he ever wants to conquer the darkness, he has to stop hiding from it and takes off his armor. Of course, instantly he falls down to the ground, overwhelmed by the sheer amount and power of the darkness, which is pretty much a death
So basically,
sentence.
he was like, it's about time I learned to swim, and jumped out of the cruise liner into the middle of the ocean.
Yes, that is, yeah. I think it's kind of great that you actually make that analogy, because specifically water, I think I've talked about this before, specifically water is often used in Kingdom Hearts as a metaphor for darkness.
As in drowning in it.
So it literally is that. He passes out in the corridor of darkness, pretty much like a matter of moments from death. But luckily for Xehanort, as he passes out, a robed figure shows up in the corridor of darkness, saying, so you're the Singularity.
Well,
That's where episode 5...
It was about time we had a black hooded figure.
Yeah, we haven't had those yet. Well, to be fair, most of the black hooded figures we see come from an older Xehanort.
Yeah, true. Or our Xehanort.
Or our Xehanort, yeah. Pretty much all of them are Xehanort or Riku. At one point, Mickey.
Yeah. And the Master of Masters.
And the Master of Masters, and Lucio. So, who might this be?
Trouble.
We'll
That's
see
for
that
sure.
next time in episode 6, which this is not much of a cliffhanger because, again, at this point, we're like well into the chapters that were released as a bunch. So this is supposed to be a cliffhanger, but you can just immediately move into the next chapter, so who cares? Because episode 6 starts moments later, with Xehanort waking up in the Keyblade graveyard and the road figure saying, "Morning!" Xehanort asks the $1 million question, the thing we all want to know, who are you?
Judging just purely on this reaction of morning. This is the Master of Masters, right?
Yeah. Very much. Usually you can tell by body language as well, like the way he's got like his hands, all like jazz hands, happiness. Lucio wouldn't like be like that. He's a lot more stoic. Until he is Zigbar, at which point Zigbar is significantly more like the Master of Masters at times. Anyway. Xehanort asks, who are you? And all the players around the entire world hold their breath, hoping for a halfway intelligible answer to this question. And the Master just stands up, saying, I could introduce myself as Theodore, or as Jack, but I can't really prove that's who I am. And thousands of nerds around the world collectively face palm. Xehanort just says, fuck man, what the hell?
Just say, no, I'm not going to introduce myself. Shut the fuck up.
And the master's like, I saved your life! You should be thanking me! And here was just walking through a corridor of darkness on a leisurely stroll, and I find you passed out. Let me guess, you thought you were strong enough to withstand the darkness. I've seen that, but wait a second. Did you get lost? Wait, are you a tourist? And Xehanort's just sitting there like, who? What is this guy? I love the Master, man. He tells Xehanort that he tells Xehanort that he used to be a Keyblade wielder. More or less. And Xehanort asks, why have I never heard about this wacky guy that apparently is a Keyblade Master? And the Master responds, used to be. More or less. Xehanort summons his Keyblade asking, I don't know, man, how can I trust you? And the Master just summons Xehanort's Keyblade out of his hand and into his own. And he says, like, see, Keyblade wielder, do you trust me now? And Xehanort's like, no, not at all, even less.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Master says, I just came into here to say, you really shouldn't walk through this corridors of darkness without protection. Going in without protection is a big no-no. And he gives Xehanort a rope, saying that it might not be as flashy as the modern armor of this age, but it provides a much better protection against darkness. Xehanort's still a little bit on edge though, saying, are you trying to sell me this cloak? It seems like you're trying to sell me this cloak. And the Master assures him, no, it's free of charge. It's a gift. And quickly changes the subject to, how did you end up here anyway? And Xehanort explains, I'm on my journey to prepare for the Mark of Mastery exam to be a Keyblade Master. Whoa. Master interrupts him. The what? The what exam? And Xehanort says, you said you were a Keyblade wielder, right? How do you not know about the Mark of Mastery exam? Everybody knows about the Mark of Mastery exam. And the Master again sighs, used to be. More or less. He keeps... that's not me adding the more or less, by the way, every time. He keeps saying it every time. I don't know what the significance of that is, but that seems significant.
Well, can you call yourself a master if you're the one who invented the thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
If anybody's like, his title, his name is the Master of Masters, and that's like also a description of what he is.
Yeah, true. Also, are we just gonna gloss over the fact that he just said that you shouldn't go in without protection?
Oh no, that was me. Paraphrasing.
Is it aside from that, but is this just the Master of Masters being like, I've got this book and it says you should have this and be here. I'm just gonna nudge you a little bit to make sure that my book is correct.
It's a little bit like, it's a little bootstrap paradoxy. Is he enforcing his book, or does the book end up being the way it is because of his actions? Chicken or the egg is more like it, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally lean more toward... It's difficult, because I personally lean more toward the idea that the Master can look into the future in a non-linear way. That's my own headcanon. That's not explicitly confirmed anywhere, but it seems that way. And what I mean by that is that he can, in my mind, what he can do is, through his eye in the Keyblade, he doesn't just see one path that the Keyblade travels. He sees like the entire like butterfly effect network of possibilities, and knows exactly what to do, where, with what person, at what time, to enforce the one branch of the timeline that he wants to come true. That is my take on it, based on very little actual evidence. But that's what I think is happening.
That still means that he, at this point, he is nudging to get Xehanort into the right timeline.
Yes. So my answer to that question is kind of both, probably.
Yeah, right.
But he's definitely like, he definitely knows, he definitely knows. I mean, when he walked into the corridor of darkness where Xehanort was passed out, he said, oh, you're the singularity, which means that he knows Xehanort is an important like part of history.
I mean, he knows who Xehanort is, right?
Yeah, he just needs to make sure that Xehanort becomes the Xehanort that he wants him to be. Kind of what this scene, and we'll get into the rest of the scene in a moment, kind of what this scene implies is that if it weren't for this meeting, Xehanort might have just become a normal Keyblade Master. No Darkness, no Kingdom Hearts, no 13 and 7, no Kikai X Your Mother Blade. It's kind of implied that the Master nudging him here, just like one conversation at this point in his life where he's like in a vulnerable state, trying to find out who he is. The Master knew, this is the time, this is the place, these are the exact words I need to say to him to make him grow into old man Xehanort who wants to destroy the world.
Also, bringing him to the Keyblade graveyard helps.
Yeah, that's slightly thematic, I suppose.
Yeah.
He says, since you're on this tour for your Mark of Mastery exam, whatever the fuck that might be, you're out exploring the world anyway, could you do me a favor? I mean, I gave you that cloak, you can do me a favor, right? And Xehanort's like, I thought you said that cloak was free. And Master said, hold on, it's an easy task and it actually fits very well with your journey. So, hear me out. What I want you to do is go out into the world that you're going to go out into anyway, and just like look at people's hearts. Just take a peek into their hearts and see what's going on in there. And then when you're done, come back here and tell me. I'm just going to sit right on this rock here, literally the rock on the right side of the screen. I'm just going to sit down, going to wait for you to come back, and we'll have a little talk about it. So, that's what happens. Xehanort at some point comes back, and we get the scene from Remind, where we see young Xehanort and the Master talking, but with a little extra dialogue added. The Master says that human emotion is complex. Something that you say might be a positive thing of light, like love, can still be tainted by the darkness. Emotions stemming from love can still be negative. So, if something coming from a positive emotion such as love, but is negative, is that still light, or does that then become dark? Meaning that things that we initially perceive as positive things can also birth darkness.
Something along the lines of too much of a good thing.
Yeah, it's like when something, some too much of a good thing becomes toxic and not good. And like sticking with the Master examples of love, like love is a very nice and fun and good thing, but that can like turn into obsession, right? And I think we can all agree that stalkers probably like not nice, right?
Yeah.
So that's, again, what we were talking about, like, at this point, probably an hour ago. These emotions aren't just categorized into, these are the positive emotions, and these are the negative emotions. It's a lot more complex and nuanced than that. And how does that fit into light and darkness? The Master says that there's people with power in every world, and there's people without power. And those with power will always oppress the rest. That's just how things work out. But, due to their oppression, the people without power band together and rise up, in turn becoming the powerful and perpetuating this entire cycle. He then asks Xehanort, which one are you? One of the strong or one of the weak? And Xehanort says, that seems like very extremist talk, dude. Like, you can't just categorize people into those two camps. That's not how that works. Which, I mean, he's right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think that the Master is entirely wrong either.
Not really.
So, again, this entire game has a lot more nuance to it. And doesn't really give answers, just asks questions. Anyway, the Master sends him back off, like, do your thing, go be a Keyblade Master, whatever. Want to get back to the actual plot here. I like covering the Master, but he's not actually that important for this game. Let's go back to Agrabah, into the Cave of Wonders, which now exists. And we're coming up to my favorite part of this game. After that bit, the rest of the game doesn't matter. Jafar tricks us into going to find the lamp, because Aladdin doesn't exist yet.
Something about the diamond in the rough and blah, blah, blah.
He literally says, these are my diamonds, plural, in the rough. So yeah, he tricks them, making them think he's a good guy, just wanting to help the kingdom. The cave tells them, touch nothing but the lamp. And they're like, oh, we'll be fine. Luckily, we don't have Ericus with us. He would fuck things up real bad. We'll be fine. But of course, they go deeper and deeper into the cave. And as they walk through the treasure room, they notice they're being followed. And Hermod says, that's a carpet. Right? Yep. Certainly is.
Uh-huh.
Walking like a person. Let's pretend we didn't see anything.
Best character in this whole world.
But it doesn't stop there. Because then, the camera pans over, and they see Ericus walking deeper into the cave.
Well, we're all gonna die.
And it flashes back, That's Erica's, right? Certainly is. Yep. Walking like a carpet. Let's pretend we didn't see... We don't have time for this, let's go. This is my favorite scene in this game. I don't know who wrote this, why they wrote it, how they came up with it. This is comedy at its best.
Fucking great.
I really like this. Like, I skip a lot of the more like interpersonal characterization scenes for most of these characters because it really doesn't matter. And again, spoiler, most of them die. This is kind of the vibe that these people have among each other through the entire game. Specifically, Erica's and Xehanort have like this teasing each other, having fun together kind of vibe, which really helps build up their friendship and makes their eventual falling out all that much more sad. So they follow deeper into the Cave of Wonders, which I don't have a screenshot for apparently, and they talk about, hey, Ericus, why the fuck are you here? And Ericus says, well, we were sent into the cage by the royal vizier Jafar to go help the kingdom. And Xehanort's group is like, oh my god, we did too. Fuck, we were tricked. Jafar is actually evil. Who could have guessed?
Oh no.
So they figure, you know what, let's ditch this world and go home then. Because we're not going to help him. But Earth thinks...
But hold up. At the end of this cave, don't touch all the other stuff, obviously.
I think you're literally 2 bullet points ahead of me.
There's a lamp that could fix, all your things.
Oh, that's actually an even better question. That's actually, that's much more relevant than the point that I'm actually going to bring up in a moment here. That's specifically because they also use the magic mirror. Like, they can use things in Disney worlds.
Yeah. Ask Genie, bring everybody home, and whoop-de-doo, we're all home. And also give me $1 million, and we're set for life.
Well, they don't do that.
God damn it.
They just want to ditch this world and go home. But Erd says, wait a second. It seems like this lamp is mighty important to this world's order. This lamp feels like a plot device.
Let's yoink it.
The upperclassmen are yoinking plot devices. So what if, and hear me out here, we hang around the lamp and just wait for them to show up there? And everybody else is like, the fuck, that is smart.
Yeah.
So, it works. They just stand around the lamp for a while and eventually Vidar just shows up.
Busted, motherfucker.
And everybody naturally like, hey, Vidar, we put your plan together. Why the hell do you think it's a good idea? It seems like a terrible plan that you have. Vidar finally explains that disrupting the world's orders is the only way to get true light to reveal itself. Because when a world's order is disrupted, it falls down into chaos and darkness, and a true light will reveal itself in the midst of that darkness. So he's trying to force out the princesses of heart.
Right.
I think. Maybe. He then looks at Ericus, saying, you want the same thing, don't you? You want to banish and destroy the darkness at any cost. And he leaves Ericus with the choice of stealing the lamp or not stealing the lamp. Ericus, man, that's a tough choice. But he reaches out to go take the lamp because he will do anything to defeat the darkness at any cost. Or so he thought. Maybe upsetting the world's order, just not worth it. They can find another way to defeat the darkness. They don't need to do this. Xehanort agrees, saying that none of them have the insight to make a decision like this. They're just students, and like lower classmen students at that. But maybe one day when he is a Keyblade Master, Ericus will have to make a similar decision, and he will know the right thing to do, like getting shot in the face with darkness. Or murdering a child, or something like that.
Yeah.
We are getting there. I'm going to try to speed up a little bit. We end the chapter with a scene 1 year later. Xehanort comes back from his journey. This is actually where he comes back. We've seen this entire scene in Remind before. Xehanort saying like everybody actually is like fake light and everybody has darkness and everybody is destined to fall to the darkness, so they might as well just right now be ruled by the darkness. That's pretty much all there is to it. Now, chapter...
Just speedrun the darkness. Let's get it over.
Well, with the context of this game, there's actually a little bit more to that. Because he's like, okay, if we let people fall to darkness at their own pace and at their own speed, what's going to happen is utter chaos, because parts are going to be in darkness, parts are going to be not in darkness, there's going to be conflict. That's not going to be good. That's going to disrupt the order. And if there's one thing that this game has consistently been about, is maintaining order above all else. So he figures if we are all going to fall to darkness eventually anyway, the way to maintain order is to just do it all at once.
Yeah.
Which actually just, like, straight up isn't a bad motivating backstory for your villain.
It's a bit of a Thanos-like move, but...
Yes.
But he has a point.
I would argue that he has more of a point than Thanos, because Thanos, just the math doesn't add up, man.
Yeah, true.
Because if you do the math, it's like 50 years and you're in the exact same position again.
Yup.
Then again, I think that's also often mistaken, because the whole idea behind Thanos is not so much that he's fixing the problem, but more so sending a message to the universe about the problem. Which is also why he doesn't just double the resources. Anyway, all that aside, we're not doing a Marvel.
Not yet.
Well, we both know Marvel too well, so that wouldn't work. We would need to get a third person. Which would mean even more editing work for me, so I don't really like doing that. Chapter 7. We're finally getting somewhere. Where the fuck am I in my notes? We start with Xehanort and Ventus walking through a corridor of darkness. So this is 65 years later, again, from current time. And at this point, Xehanort has all mastered the darkness. He can just walk through here without a problem. And he thinks back to his first steps of the island, walking through a corridor of darkness. These things are useful, but dangerous to traverse for those in the living world. He looks over at Ventus, thinking, I guess you can walk through here, because, like, your heart is closed off. It's, like, real badly damaged. So I guess you can't get corrupted or something.
Can something that is broken be corrupted?
Well, like, all the darkness has left his heart, because, of course, like, it's been taken out to become Vanitas. So I guess the idea is that darkness needs, like, a little bit of a foothold to get into your heart, but Ventus doesn't have any, so he can walk through these. So
he's a figure of pure light at this point, so he can be used as a, like, substitute for one of the princesses?
I would argue probably yes.
Neat.
Also because he is technically one of the Guardians of Light in Kingdom Hearts 3 in that battle. So
yeah.
But all the other people in there aren't pure light, so I don't fucking know what's happening. Nomura doesn't fucking know what's happening. Nobody knows what the fuck is happening. Anyway, important moment. Xehanort thinks back to his first mentor, the guy in the blue robe. And he told him about a book of prophecies that existed, in which was inscribed a story of a chosen one to be a dark vessel. One who can connect his heart to others and feel what they feel. Xehanort wants to embrace the darkness, fill himself up with it to fulfill that prophecy. He wants to be the chosen one.
As we all do.
There is some more to that, but we'll get to it. They finally arrive at the land of departure, where Xehanort gives Ventus to Ericus to be trained there. Again, we've seen most of this in Birth by Sleep. But this time we actually see the conversation between Xehanort and Ericus. And Xehanort's like, hey, sorry about blasting your face. And Ericus like, it's alright. These scars look cool. It's fine. And Xehanort says, I found this boy who I've been training for the last year or so. And I think he might be the chosen one. The child of destiny. This is a concept that we're probably going to be hearing more about. The child of destiny. Saying that if he is, he deserves to be trained by a true heir to the light. Xehanort himself, he says, is too close to the darkness to train somebody so important. Back in the present, we're back in the classroom, gathering lights, fighting the darkness, blah, 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 blah. That's literally what my notes say. Can you tell that it was getting late at this point? Odin explains about the true darkness. We've been over this about 15 times already as well. So I'll spare you, because we need to get a move on. I want to get to sleep at some point before midnight. And about the darkness with no form, because these ancient darknesses didn't have a form. But if they have a vessel, these darknesses can be destroyed, presumably. So we flash back to Vidar and Odin in their conversation that we saw before. And Odin's like, yeah, it kind of sucks for the people that end up being the vessels, but they're necessary sacrifices for the greater good. I mean, maybe Kingdom Hearts could also defeat the darkness, but that's way too risky. We can't do that. And Vito's like, Kingdom Hearts? That's a great plan. I'm going to do that. Bye. So,
I should not have said that.
yeah, it's a very Hagrid moment. In the classroom, though, which apparently I don't have a screenshot of, Odin says, yeah, this whole Kingdom Hearts business is pretty serious. You know what? You kids, you stay here. You do your homework. I'm going to actually deal with it. Which...
He's going to do a thing?
Odin, buddy, pal, good friend. This is chapter 7 out of 8 of this game. And only now do you think, hey, maybe I should step in. Maybe this is not something to leave to literal children. Odin is the worst, man. Better late than never, though, I suppose.
I mean, that's just pretty much all adults in this franchise.
Yeah. It's all adults and all children's media, to be honest, though.
Yeah.
So the students just hang out discussing what to do next, and Xehanort says that the only reason they ever found any of the upperclassmen, and I think that is this screenshot, any of the upperclassmen they could find is because they found them. True. Which, hold on, pronouns. Because that sentence doesn't make a lot of sense. The upperclassmen were the one to find this group. This group never actually found anybody. They were just around, and the upperclassmen decided, okay, now is the time to, like, intervene and meet some of these people. So, even the, like, 2 times that they did, quote-unquote, find them, it wasn't really finding as much as being found.
Very much true, yeah.
Which just seems to reinforce the fact that these children should not have been given this mission.
Uh-huh.
But as they're discussing their options as to what to do now, they are joined by Baldur, which has been MIA for this entire game. They ask him what he's been up to, and he's just been out on missions to learn more about the darkness, he says. They catch up with him and say that they've been to worlds all over the place. And Baldur says, hold on. I know what you guys are up to, kind of. I'm not supposed to, but I figured it out. The upperclassmen are missing. It's fine. There's a place in one of the worlds that I visited called the Underworld. And it seems like people who are like very much missing, dead, end up there. So maybe we should go check that out and see if they are very missing.
Yeah, sure, that sounds like a fun place.
So Erica's like, great, we can continue our mission. And everyone's like, shut the fuck up, Erica. There's the one person in this entire world who is not supposed to know about our mission. And he's standing right fucking there. But Baldur says, it's okay, I know about your mission. It's all fine. I know about Hodor. She's dead. Hodor is his sister, by the way. She's dead, and I'm kind of just fine with that. I've learned to live with it. Let's go search the underworld. Let's actually go, like, do a thing, instead of just sulking about my dead sister. Which is just, okay, maybe therapy?
Yeah, that's a terrible coping mechanism, but I guess we'll get to therapy when we're done.
You have time for therapy when you're dead. Which, I mean...
Yeah. Yeah.
So go to the underworld.
Yeah.
After he explains that after he and Ericus talked about the Mark of Mastery exam, Baldur couldn't help himself feel more and more worried about his sister. So he went out into the worlds to go find her. And find her he did. While she was fighting Dragon Maleficent.
Oh, shit.
And she's not doing that well, which... Look, I know that this is not like fucking Dragon Ball or something, but if I'm gonna power scale this, that means that all of these characters are significantly weaker than Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1. Because Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1 beat her to death.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out as like, these are supposed to be almost masters. And maybe Maleficent is stronger here, I don't know. Just wanted to point that out real quick.
I guess they just don't have enough friendship in their heart.
I guess so. Or maybe Sora is the Master of Masters and super powerful.
Yeah, maybe. She
tries to protect Baldur, at any rate, from a blast of fire and get toasted to a fucking crisp, falling down.
She takes a bullet for the president?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. She fades away and dies in front of Baldur's eyes. He literally watches his sister fall to the ground, fade away, and her heart float up into the sky. She's fucking dead.
Right. And he says he's fine with that.
When he woke up, he says he was in the infirmary, just in a hospital bed, and he's just been kind of chilling there and going out on some easy missions since then. And he's apparently just kind of fine with that, yeah. Sure. Let's stick with that. So, of course, now we go to Olympus Colosseum. And, oh my god, this screenshot of Hades is just... What?
You can't take anyone serious in this art style, but this this fucking takes the cake. God
This
damn
looks
it.
like he should be on our list. Don't look at these children like that, please. Hades makes them fight in the games. And Baldur notes that they've... all his friends, so Ericus and... well, actually, no. No. He says everybody's improved a lot since the last time he saw them fight. Except for Ericus. He still sucks. So they win the tournament and ask Hades, hey, can you bring us to the underworld? We're looking for some dead people. And Hades is like, sure. I think I have a screenshot of this. Maybe not. Hades is like, sure. I'll bring you into the underworld. Who are you looking for? It's not a busy day. I can go look for someone. And they say, okay, we're looking for Hodor. And he's like, okay, sure. Be right back. And he poofs into a cloud of like dark death, god of the underworld stuff.
Let me check my Excel sheet. Dead people.
A little while later, he poofs back and says, okay, I found her. Also, a few more friends that were with her, so just consider them a bonus. But, now that I've done this, you can go talk to her, but you're leaving at least one person here. That's going to be your payment. If you want to talk to her, one of you fuckers is staying in the underworld dead. And they're like, okay, we'll get to that when we get to that. Let's go talk to Hodor. But on the way...
So they're just fine with that?
I mean, they're just going to beat his ass and leave. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, you know, he is the god of the underworld, and one of them couldn't beat a dragon, so...
They also all have, like, portal technology where they can just leave any world at any time. Like, locking these people up is literally impossible, aside from the fact that they have literal keyblades which can unlock any lock in existence.
Yeah, fair point. Never mind.
Even if it's a metaphysical prison, they can just portal out. So what the fuck is Hades going to do? Aside from, like, actually physically kill them, potentially.
Yeah, but if you die, end up in the underworld.
Hold that thought. We'll get back to that. On the way to see Hodor, they run into Cerberus. And Baldur jumps in, saying, I'll help you out. You guys have been fighting. I will do some fighting too. Xehanort, Ericus, you go talk to Hodor, my dead sister. I apparently don't need to see her again. Sure, me and Bragi will stay behind here and fight this three-headed demon dog. So, that happens. And
Weird priorities, but whatever.
Sure. It's pretty much just because Ericus and Xehanort are the main characters and they need to talk to the plot devices. And these two just don't matter.
Yeah, but it's your sister, come on.
Yeah. So finally we reach the upperclassmen, which, more names. Don't try to commit these to memory because they are literally only in this one scene, aside from Hodor. So we have, of course, Hodor, which is Baldur's sister. Then we have, I'm not entirely sure on these three, but I think I know. This one over here is Heimdall. We have, let me check. Helgi, I think, is this one. And Sigrun is this one. These two, I might have swapped the names around. They literally have one line in this game and then they go back to being dead. Because all of these are dead already.
Well, they're in the underworld.
Heimdall is the only one that has, like, actually a conversation with them.
Speaking of people who can make portals.
Yeah, fucking Bifrost the ever-living hell out of here.
Yeah.
Sure. They ask what Xehanort and Ericus are doing down here. Did you also, like, die? Like, please tell me you didn't die. And they say, we're looking for you guys. To which the red-haired girl, which, again, I think is... I'm not even going to scroll up to catch her name. The red-haired girl with, like, the one-sided ponytail. That one. Uh-huh. She's like, wait, we're missing? And I'm just sat here watching these cutscenes, like, 11 p.m. at night. Like, girl, you're dead. Of course you're fucking missing. What the fuck is this game?
Well, unless they thought that they knew that they were dead.
Well, that's what they're getting at. But this is what you get when games censor themselves and change the word dead for missing. Hades straight up makes a joke about this. Like, oh, you're not looking for missing people. You're looking for dead people. I don't know why mortals always try to sugarcoat things. But they've been talking about missing people this entire time, and now it turns out, no, we're dead. But like, words have meanings, use them.
Yeah.
The blonde one in the fur coat, which again I didn't note any names because I don't care, notes that means that Vidar must have not made it back. Xehanort says, no, he made it back. And he's sort of trying to summon Kingdom Hearts, so we figured y'all might have any idea as to what the fuck is going on with that. And they all look at each other like, no, that's a terrible idea. Why is he doing that?
You
Don't
what
do
now?
that. Anyway, how do you guys even die? Why are you here? Why are you dead? Which is just insensitive to ask, but, well, they too ran into Dragon Maleficent. Just as Hodor died, they barged into the room. You will note a boulder who is supposed to be in this scene is not there.
Uh-huh.
That might mean a thing. They saw her die, they rushed in, and also got absolutely just toasted by Dragon Maleficent. They wonder if Maleficent is the darkness they've been looking for. But one of the upperclassmen, I don't remember who because I don't care, says, we were looking for a formless darkness, and like, I don't know, I feel like a huge fucking dragon is maybe as far from formless as you're gonna get. So,
Yeah, that's pretty for me.
yeah, that's pretty, that's a form. It's a pretty big form.
Okay.
So I don't think that's it. Erica says that, well, she's still a dark person, so we should go beat her the fuck up. Heimdall answers, no, not so fast. When we died, we were just hearts and like in between, like part of the universe, right? And we realized that light and darkness might not be as clear cut as we've been making it out to be. Two sides of the same coin, not opposites. And Xehanort agrees, saying that everywhere they go, there's been a little bit of light and a little bit of darkness. That being a good or a bad thing is just a matter of perspective. Both sides contribute to this conflict, which usually I'm not a fan of where to fight to have blame, but sure.
Yeah.
In this case, I feel like the light definitely is also fighting against the darkness. The darkness isn't just bullying the light.
Yeah.
And with that,
Especially if your name is Ericus.
yeah, I mean, he's a light boy and he's trying to kill other light people, so I don't know what the fuck is up with him.
Yeah.
So with all that out of the way, exposition dumped, the upperclassmen vanished back into... this is what I wanted to talk about. So, when they died, they ended up in a world of never-ending ocean and sky. It's a place we've been before. Or where Sora's been before, rather. The final world. So, when a character in Kingdom Hearts dies, they don't just all go to the underworld in Olympus Coliseum for some fucking reason. They go to or through the final world. And Hades, apparently, like, as a god of the dead, presumably can just kind of, like, go in there, grab some people, and bring them back into the underworld. But these people didn't die and then go to the underworld. Because they died in, like, a totally separate world. That would be really weird. Just wanted to point that out because we talked about it.
That makes absolutely no sense, but fine.
Like, wherever you die, doesn't matter. You just go to the final world.
Oh yeah, that I've gotten that far, but how the fuck did they end up in the underworld then?
Because Hades went to get them out of the final world.
But why?
Because Xehanort and Ericus literally asked him to go get Hodor. And he's like, okay, I'll go check heaven. And he
yeah.
pops into the final world. He finds him in there and brings him back into his own world, which just happens to be the underworld. Right. Presumably he could just bring them to like fucking dwarf woodlands or something if he wanted to.
Yeah, alright. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense.
So they all leave except Hodor, who stays behind for a little while longer and asks Xehanort for a favor. And we'll figure out about that later. Xehanort and Ericus go back up, and turns out that now Bragi and Baldur are missing. Which is odd because we did see them beat Cerberus in a cutscene in between here, somewhere. They beat up Cerberus, and Bragi's like, oh man, he was tough. We need to use more than our usual methods of combat here. And after that, they went MIA for some reason. I don't know. So they ask Hades, like, hey, did you see our other friends? And Hades like, the fuck is wrong with you people? I'm not a cosmic lost and found bin. Dude, leave me the fuck alone. He also is like, it's even better than that, because he actually does say the cosmic lost and found bin. But they ask him, hey, where are Baldur and Bragi. And Hades initially responds like, how am I supposed to know? I can hardly tell you people apart. I don't know who's who. Which just makes me identify with Hades more than anything else.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. Same Hades. Same. They're like, okay, if you won't tell us, we're just going to beat you up. We're going to keyblade you real good. But Hermod steps in, saying, like, we've been over this like a million times. We can't go beating people up with our keyblades just because we want something. Why are we fighting this man? And they explain that, hey, he's seemingly holding Bragi and Baldur hostage. And Hermod's like, oh yeah, no, fuck this guy. Let's kill him. Just instant 180. Like, literally 180. He starts facing them, and when they say that, he walks over and then faces with them against Hades.
Also a nice screenshot of Hades.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with Hades in this game. Something's up, man. And Hades like, I'm not going to fight 4 of you. Fuck that. And opens a portal which just sucks them in. And that's the end of this world. That's how Olympus Coliseum ends in this game. Except not really, because at the end of any world, you get the logo for that world to signal like, hey, we're done here. And usually then it fades to black and you get back to like Scala or something. But this time, the scene keeps going. Because Hades turns back into his blue form, that's all fine, turns around and sees somebody off screen just saying, you. I'm going to be real with you.
Yeah.
I have a weak theory at best as to who the fuck he is seeing right here. This has not been explained.
I mean, my first guess would be one of the Xehanauts.
But he literally just blasted young Xehanort through a portal.
Exactly, that's why he's surprised.
That's fair, but how would... well, time travel. Well, that actually would work fairly well. There wouldn't be much reason for a Xehanort to time travel back here, but it could be.
Hades has an interesting power set that he could use.
Yeah. I have a different theory, which I feel like is the only thing that makes sense aside from that. But we need later knowledge, like one chapter ahead. So if I don't forget, which I probably will, we'll circle back to it. In a corridor of darkness, Xehanort and Ericus are like, oh, this ain't good. Let's put on our armor before we fucking die. And even then, we're on the clock, man. We need to make it out of here. This ain't good. It's just to do. Where are Hermod and Erd? Are they also somewhere in here? I hope that they're okay. Spoilers. They're not okay.
Probably not.
Because they are elsewhere, also in a corridor of darkness, except they are, I think, not awake. So they're just dying. We see their bodies fade away, their hearts float up. Both of them. We're about to go into the final chapter, so people gotta start dying.
Finally.
Finally, we get rid of all these fucking characters which we don't care about. Even after a while, Xehanort and Ericus, it's just too much, the Corridors of Darkness. Even with the armor, it's too much, and they start to collapse as well. But just in time, Master Odin, who apparently just has an orb of light around him that allows him to walk through here. I don't know. He comes in and saves them.
Would have been a useful trick, to teach them. But
I honestly don't know what the fuck this power is. I honestly, I couldn't tell you.
Could be just a flashlight. It's quite dark in there.
I feel like it might be related to this specific Keyblade for a reason we'll get to in a moment. But then Aqua would have been able to do this because she eventually inherits this Keyblade and is stuck in the Realm of Darkness for 10 years. You figure she would have done this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, skipping forward another 65 years into Birth by Sleep time, we get into some relevant cutscenes again. Xehanort is talking to Vanitas. This is just after Terra and Aqua had their Mark of Mastery exam of hitting some balls of light.
Vanitas looks fucking terrible.
Yes! You're right. Vanitas is probably the worst in this art style. Xehanort still is just Gargamel light, but Vanitas is... I don't know, Vanitas isn't even cartoonishly edgy. He's just... What the fuck is he?
They're all kind of big head, small body, but that helmet doesn't help.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. Vanitas asks how Ventus did, and Xehanort says, everything I've done has been for Ventus, not for you. And Vanitas asks, does that mean you're switching sides on me? Because I don't really like that idea. And Xehanort tells him to just shut the fuck up. Pure darkness or not, he's no match for my blade. And Vanitas like, oh, okay. I'll be good. Xehanort recounts the story of the 13 ancient darknesses, with one of them remaining in the realm of light, disguising itself as an ally to light. And hey, Vanitas, you're a darkness, right? You're pure darkness. So surely you must be able to tap into the hive mind and tell me more about this, right? That's how darkness works. And Vanitas says that he's his own person now. Xehanort says, yeah, sure, you're your own being now, your own being that used to be part of the whole, so you definitely know more about this. And let's just forget that. Let's just hypothetically speaking, if Vanitas were this ancient darkness, why would you be hiding? What would you have to fear? Or why would you be hiding? Out of fear of something? And Vanitas asks, if I were that darkness, what would I even have to fear? And Xehanort simply answers, light! Which is very uncharacteristic of Xehanort.
Yeah, but also very true.
Yeah. Vanitas says that little venti boy doesn't scare him. Xehanort explains that while Vanitas was made from Ventus's heart being split equally between light and darkness, he wasn't born from Ventus's heart. He merely existed in there and Xehanort just took him out. So, where did you come from? Where did you and Ventus come from, for that matter? Because Ventus was one of the friends I used to see back when I was a boy in my dreams. Then he showed up, and you were inside there. There's a lot going on here. What the fuck is going on? And Vanitas just asks, what do you know? And Xehanort shrugs, I don't know. What is there to know? And finally, we end episode 7. So this cutscene is just there to pretty much confirm that Vanitas is like the physical manifestation of one of those darkness. But we've already been over that. So, was that a waste of time? Yes, it was. You know what's not a waste of time? Final episode. We're almost there. Fucking finally. We start with a flash to the future from present time. 2 years in the future. After Xehanort has gone on his Mark of Mastery journey and come back. Ericus asks him how it was. And Xehanort says that it's given me a lot to think about. Thinking about the past and what is to come in the future. It made me realize that one lifetime is just too short to see everything and help the worlds rebuild into what they once were and what they should be. Ericus says that, that's too bad because like that's kind of how life works. You only get like one, right? YOLO?
Yeah.
That's why we find people to carry on our legacy. That's the whole like master-student dynamic is because we only have one lifetime. So we teach other people to carry on our legacy. And Xehanort says, yeah, that sounds good, but you know what sounds better? Actually doing that work myself. I don't want to trust anybody else with that work. I just want to live through as long as it takes to rebuild the world. And Ericus asks him, okay, if you're going to do that, how many do you want? And Xehanort says 12 lives. No, 13 lives. That's how long it'll take to rebuild everything. I want 13 lives. 13 Xehanort lives. Which is just very subtle.
Yeah, very much.
But he says, no, wait. It will take 13 lives to rebuild the worlds. So, I want to have 14. After the 13 lives to rebuild the world, I want one life to just go sightseeing and see what the world is like. You might think, why the fuck are we talking about this? This does not seem relevant at all to the story that we're discussing. And I feel that too. So I think that this cutscene is in here to plant the seed for... We've had 13 Xehanorts, so that part of his wishes came true. Is there going to be a Xehanort 14 at any point?
That would be fun. Just a side character poking around a few times. It could be fun.
Xehanort's not going to be a big player moving forward, I don't think. But there was, coinciding with the release of this game, with like the finale of this game, I think, there was a piece of art of Xehanort holding an umbrella in the rain in what is confirmed to have been a specific park in New York, not New York City, in Tokyo. And where do we know Sora to be in this moment?
Okay.
So we might be seeing Xehanort as a side character in So cute. That's entirely theory, though. But together with this scene, it feels like the setting up for, like, hey, Xehanort is still around. It's not going to be a focus, probably, but he's probably still around somewhere. All that stuff about multiple lifetimes and la la la. Erica says, that sounds like crazy talk. But Xehanort says that, we all love dreams, right? Let me dream. What's your dream, Ericus? Tell me what's your dream. And Ericus thinks for a moment and says, to stay true to the light. That way...
just some cliche bullshit.
Yeah. That way, if anybody's ever lost in the darkness, I can be there to guide them back. Fucking feel it at that, didn't you, Ericus?
Yeah.
Like, real bad. Multiple times over.
Yup.
Back in the present, Odin...
Can we go back to the previous?
Is
Argus losing that bad that he doesn't have any pieces on the board?
I think they might just be setting up the game. I don't know. But maybe he's just lost. Good point.
But Xehanort hasn't moved any pieces, so...
Presumably they're just setting... I don't remember, man. I'm not paying attention to that chess game while they're talking. This game is not voice acted. I had to read 4 hours of dialogue.
Oh, God.
Which is why this episode might be a little bit late, because it took me a while to make the notes for this. But it's also the last episode that I have to take notes for a while. So I'm in a good mood. Back in the present, Odin says, hey, you two are kind of the only ones left. The upperclassmen are either dead or missing, and the rest of your class is also either dead or missing. So...
either join the ones that were missing or are dead. Good job, motherfuckers.
Yeah. So, great on you two for surviving, but the fuck are we gonna do now? Ericus says that you two shouldn't blame yourself for what happened, blah, blah, blah. We've been over this. Ericus does kind of blame himself, though. Hermod and Erd being lost to the darkness, Baldur and Bragi being stuck in the underworld, and Odin is like, oh, whoa, what? You ran into Baldur? How? And as if on cue, a dramatically timed earthquake just hits in that moment. Odin notes that it is time, and summons No Name down from the headboard that's been looking out of the glass this entire game. Odin keeps switching back between the two different ancient Keyblades, that being Master Defender and No Name, and I don't know why.
Is he just that much of a baller?
Maybe. It feels like there is a reason to which Keyblade shows up in which cutscenes. I don't know, though.
If he is just that much of a baller, then he could have used that power a long-ass time ago.
Oh, yeah. No, he could have prevented this entire game by just taking care of shit himself.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And as you will see in a moment, he could have prevented this entire game in even more ways, but we'll get to it. We've only got like 20 bullet points to go. We're getting there. He tells Xehanort, Ericus, you two are still alive. Please stay the fuck alive and stay the fuck in this room while I go deal with it. Finally. And Ericus looks over at Xehanort like, I feel like you know what's happening. Do you know what's happening? And Xehanort just says, I wish I didn't. But yeah. So they go out to look for Baldur. Because the thing causing the earthquakes and attacking Skala at the moment, it's Baldur, who's been open to darkness after losing his sister. He didn't just take his sister dying just like that. It opened his heart to darkness. He was depressed as fuck.
He did need some therapy.
He did need some therapy, indeed. Which brings you to the sponsor of this episode. No. I literally wrote a joke like that into a script for a video today, so this isn't top of mind. So they go out looking for Baldur, knowing that he's the problem, and they run into the remaining upperclassmen, who've also come back home and are like, what the fuck is happening? I didn't know it was this bad. I knew Baldur had been chosen by darkness as its vessel, but this is worse than I thought. And everybody looks at Vidar like, you knew?
God damn it.
What?
Why is everything in this whole game series just this such a fucking pet peeve in movies, but this game has a A very big tendency to do this. Why are 90% of the problems in this game easily solved by just people communicated for
Yeah,
5 minutes?
just have a cup of tea.
Yeah,
just go get a beer, you know?
just share some shit, make sure everybody is on top of what's happening, and we're done.
Bad management. It's real bad management. Ericus agrees with us, though, because he's like, you kept that information, and now shit's going down. I'm gonna beat you up with my Keyblade. Which, Ericus, I like your style, but there's 3 of them, and they are more skilled than you two. So, don't know about that.
Also a bigger problem, maybe save this for later.
Yeah, also that. So they fight for a bit. Ericus calms down and comes to the exact same conclusion, like, hey, why are we fighting each other? We should be fighting Boulder, I believe, right? To which Boulder shows up, like, hey, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Saying that, good job, you managed to gather the 7 lights. And that he has some business at the tower. So, if you want to come kill your good friend Boulder, come up to the tower. We can do it there. Oh, also, I forgot to mention. Fuck. The upperclassmen are back, and one of our friends went with them, right? Vor.
Yeah.
She's not in this scene because the upperclassmen were like, hey, we're going to go back, but if we go back, you probably should go talk to Master Odin about the whole you left of your own volition. Because that speaks to like a lot of like mental problems you have. Maybe talk to an adult.
Yeah. Maybe you could have done that with him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But now that Baldur is going to the tower, they're like, wait a second. The tower. Where Master Odin is. Where we send Vor. Oh no! That's not good. Let's chase after him. So they all rush up to the tower, and we get a flashback of Baldur in his hospital room the day after his sister died. Then we see...
This isn't a hospital room. This is a fucking isolation cell.
Again,
no wonder he's gone mental.
Odin could have prevented so much here. Day 2, he thinks about the upperclassmen and how could they not have protected her. And they too are gone. Day 3, why didn't they protect each other? Day 4, did they disappear? Did they die? Day 5, and I only put in one slide here because otherwise it was going to be like a lot of clicking. Every single time we like fade to black, see day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And when we come back, the room is a little bit darker, and Baldur's shadow on the
gets
wall
a little bit bigger.
Gets a little bit bigger. I know that doesn't make physical sense. It's a metaphor, kind of. It's also physically happening, but it's a metaphor.
It's cinematic stuff and things and symbolism and yay.
Day 5, he blames himself for all of their death. Day 6, he also blamed himself for the other upperclassmen's dying, because Hodor died because of him, and then they died because of that, and he's responsible for all of them dying. Day 7, he feels like a world without Hodor in it might as well have just fallen to dark. And then the shadow steps off of the wall. So yeah, it's actually like a physical thing. Stepping out into the room, right behind Baldur, like almost massaging his shoulders, kind of creepy, right? Telling him that if there is no hope left in this world, purge it by plunging 13 lights into the shadow. So that's how Baldur became a bad guy again. Definitely Odin's fault.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt. Like, get this boy a therapy
fucking
instead of fucking isolation. In the tower, Baldur runs into Vor, who asks about all this and Hodor's death, and Baldur says, no. This isn't because Hodor died. No. I'm the one who killed her. I'm the one who killed my sister.
What?
It's not entirely clear whether this is the darkness talking or Baldur, or kind of like a little bit of both.
Well, yeah, the darkness would make sense.
I feel like this is the darkness talking through Baldur. I still think that Baldur is the one who killed his sister.
Nah, but he does feel guilty and responsible for it. So
yeah,
it's mostly the darkness talking, but also Baldur, and it has just convinced himself of this.
Something along those lines. It's a little... We'll get a little bit more into it, because it feels like, up until this point, the darkness took a hold of Baldur after his sister's death because he was vulnerable to the darkness.
Mm.
That's not what happens. The darkness has been slowly building up inside Baldur over many, many years. But we'll get a better explanation in like 10 bullet points. I am the one who killed Hodor, he says. And then also Heimdall, and Helgi, and Sigrun. And everybody's like, who the fuck are those again? All that. All Brog is doing. Then Urt and Hermod were even easier to finish off, being so young and inexperienced. And Vor will be lucky number 8 to fall. And from this point on, like, he keeps a nice little count for the player to keep up to date. Baldur and Vor have a quick little fight, but Baldur easily gets the upper hand until the upperclassmen show up to join in the fight, to save Vor. And Baldur's like, oh, that wasn't part of the plan. That ain't good. Fuck. So he summons a huge boss heartless, which I don't think I have a screenshot of. Oh, no, I do! It's so edgy. Also, that boss heartless one hits all the upperclassmen right into, like, oblivion. They just die in one hit.
Oh, dear.
And Baldur counts. 8, 9, and 10. And Vidar is like, hey, Xehanort, I'm dying down here. Come talk to me, please. Yeah, I'm sorry about causing all this. Could you go clean up my mess, pretty please? And then he dies. First dark-skinned character in the series. Fantastic. The Heartless attacks Xehanort and Ericus, who for some reason have much more luck fighting back against it than the 3 older students, but we don't think about that. While that's happening, Vor manages to sneak up behind Baldur, striking at him, but of course Baldur just fucking yeets her across the room. 11. Ericus and Xehanort run up to Vor, holding her as she starts to fade away and die. She says she's sorry. I really screwed this one up, didn't I? And Ericus says, no, you don't have to apologize for this. None of this is your fault. And Vor says, no, I'm not sorry about all of this happening. I know that's not my fault. I'm sorry for leaving you, my friends, in the first place. As she fades away, Baldur is watching, just kind of like smiling at the whole thing, and says, that just leaves number 12 and lucky number 13. But, like, we've killed all the people in this room. Vibes are a little bit off. Let's do this in, like, a cool arena. Let's meet up at the tower and we'll have our battle there. That's not, like, word for word what he says, but pretty much that's what he says.
Well, at least he has a sense of drama.
He says something like, we need an appropriately dramatic arena for this. I don't know the exact words, but it's like very much his reasoning for not fighting here is because it's not epic enough. So one more boss battle later. I know, wait a second. Yeah. I don't know, I think I wrote this in the wrong order. Doesn't matter. One more boss battle later, we are ready to finish this. So we fight actually Baldur, and I think the Heartless is there as well, on top of the tower, which, side note, this is also the place that Xehanort ends up fighting Sora at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. So, Baldur's not wrong. Important battles do happen here.
Yeah.
Xehanort gets up to strike Baldur down once and for all. But Xehanort's like, hold on, that's still our friend. Maybe don't kill him. And that just gives Xehanort a moment of hesitation, which is long enough for Baldur to engulf himself and Xehanort in a cloud of darkness. Explaining that he is not, in fact, a true darkness from ancient times. Hearts aren't just light or darkness. He says that Xehanort and Baldur are the same kind of person. Standing so close to the light, their heart only grows more darkness. Xehanort with Ericus and Baldur with his sister. When that light disappears, the only thing that remains is a vast darkness that will swallow everything in its vicinity. So, again, we are not in fact fighting an ancient darkness from Union Cross times. This is just, as it proclaims itself, the unknown, that which you fear, given form. So it's just some darkness, not a darkness.
It's just Baldur being pissed off.
It is this group of students, collective fear and insecurities, bound together and latching onto whatever vessel was most susceptible to it.
Well, a good group of teenagers' fears and insecurities, that's a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So The darkness even says, I could have latched onto anybody, even you, Xehanort, but Baldur had a... I'll just go through the bullet points. I think it explains it here at some point, so I don't have to explain it twice. Yeah, so both Baldur and Xehanort have hearts that are exceptionally sensitive to sensing other people's feelings. And that is what made Baldur so susceptible to the darkness and to being influenced by others. As if this whole scene wasn't weird enough, fucking Hodor force ghosts her way into this scene. Because in the underworld, when Hodor asked Xehanort for a favor, that favor was apparently, hey, can I just like ride on your heart for a while so that I can talk to my brother? And here she is. So she says, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cause you so much pain and suffering and bad things. Just please trust me when I say the world isn't such a bad place. There is hope and light to be found.
The
Baldur,
fuck do you know about that? You're dead.
well, she was alive at some point until like a week ago, right?
Yeah, well, maybe, but still.
Baldur explains that ever since he was a little boy, he could feel what was in the hearts of those around him, and feeling that scared him. He only felt safe around Hodor because she was such a strong beacon of light in his life. But the more he grew up, the more he met different people, and he realized that people's hearts are filled with darkness, which again is what made him eventually susceptible to hosting this darkness. For a moment, it seems like Hodor might be getting through to Baldur and talking him down. But then a huge eruption of darkness bursts out of Baldur, ready to strike down. Apparently, Force Ghost Hodor. I don't even know what he was going to do there, to be honest with you. But as he gets ready to strike, he gets wrapped up in a bunch of light chains by Master Odin, who does a thing.
He did a thing.
At the moment of truth, he does a thing.
He finally gets to the point, like, these kids are fucking useless.
Let's murder one of them.
Let's at least intervene in this whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, home stretch. Hodor, the Force Ghost still there, takes this chance to finish off Baldur before she actually fades away for good, dying, her last, like, remaining thing in the living world taken care of. But in his final moments, Baldur talks to Xehanort. Do you see now? There is them, people filled with light. And then there is us, those who will stop at nothing to achieve their goals and find their answers. He urges Xehanort to seek answers about the world, about the darkness, and then fades away. And that clearly stuck with Xehanort through the rest of his life.
Yeah, quite a bit.
We next got to 1 month later, Xehanort putting flowers on the graves of everybody. His classmates, the upperclassmen, and finally, the last grave, Baldur. After a while...
all the way around.
Also, there's a shit ton of gravestones here. Holy hell.
Oh, it's quite a big city.
Well, true, but it's empty. Well, it wouldn't be a big city if it was always empty, I suppose. Hey, wouldn't it be fun if there was a mobile game that got delayed like 5 times that would explain something like this?
Yeah.
Between the last recording we had and this one, by the way, that next mobile game was delayed again.
God damn it.
So, we're not getting it anytime soon. Anyway, as he is putting flowers on the graves, he is joined by Ericus, who has an armful of flowers too. They had the exact same ID. Xehanort asks how Master Odin is doing, and Ericus says, these days, Master Odin is little more than a glum old man. Which, rude.
Yeah, but also understandable.
After all, I mean, it was very much his fault.
It was very much his fault.
Every step of the way was his fault.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
And that would make someone very grumpy if,
Yeah.
you, well, it would be murder, but at least, murder
Assisted
by
murder.
negligence.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some kind of legalese term for that.
Yeah.
And he tells Xehanort that the Master Odin has decided giving up on being a Keyblade Master. Ericus and Xehanort will be his
Good.
final... Yes, good. Now, well, to be fair, Xehanort and Ericus are his remaining students, and both of them, in their own way, when they become masters themselves, really fuck up. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, having a bad teacher makes you a bad teacher. So.
Well, yeah, true. So he wants to leave the future in the hands of the next generation. Ericus and Xehanort, he feels like they're almost ready to take the actual Mark of Mastery exam, allowing him to retire so they can take over.
So wait, hold up. So they mostly fixed his shit, and that
They still need to
didn't
take a
count.
test.
That still didn't count as a mark of mastery.
And this is where it diverges from Star Wars in a major way, where I think they should have just stuck with the Jedi thing, because in like Jedi progression, there is just like a trial, right? There's a standardized test that a learner at some point in their journey takes to become a Jedi Knight. But if just out in the field something happens and a learner shows that they are capable, they are also promoted to Jedi Knight. Yeah. Most of the actual characters in Star Wars end up becoming Jedi this way, because of course just seeing somebody take a test isn't particularly interesting. Kingdom Hearts doesn't seem to have an equivalent of, hey, you saved the world, I know it wasn't an official test, but you're a master now.
It seems like you did okay.
It feels like they lifted so much of Star Wars and like the Jedi Order. They should have also taken that. One day I will walk you through the Star Wars expanded universe. The Disney one, not everything that happened before, because let's not open that can of worms.
No, God.
Both of the friends say that they will try to do their best to uphold Keyblade, legacy, future, blah, 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 blah. And the final episode ends. Except there's no ending slide, so you know there's more coming.
Oh, of course it doesn't.
The screen doesn't fade. After a few seconds, a robed figure shows up and saying, so he wasn't the one. Okay, you ready?
I guess.
You're not.
No.
We flash back to the underworld, where Bragi and Baldur apparently got lost, but we know that Baldur got out, right? Because he became the final boss of the game. So when they defeat Cerberus and Baldur says, the darkness is strong here, we need to use more than our usual methods of combat to defeat this. Bragi's like, hey, that sounds like you're using darkness.
Yeah.
And Baldur says, it will be so tragic when our friends hear about how you died in this battle against his dog. But Bragi says, like, nah, Xehanort's onto you. He knows what's going on. If you kill me, you're fucked. Your cover is blown. And Baldur just says, well, then I simply won't go back home. Problem solved. Bragi says, man, you got me in such a tight spot here, right? With all the trouble you've been causing, you would draw way too much attention as a vessel, so I guess I'll keep this body for a little bit longer.
Oh, dang.
You know where this is going, right?
Oh, yeah.
Effortlessly, he swipes Baldur's Keyblade away from him, saying, you think you're strong enough to beat me? As if. But you do you. I'm just going to disappear for a while and let everybody forget about me. So back in Scala, we see Luciu take down his hood and reveal Bragi's face. This entire time, one of our characters, side characters, has been Luciu. Again. I like Luciu.
Yeah.
He just randomly shows up like, hey, I'm here. But he says that, hey, I'm supposed to be buried here, so maybe I shouldn't be sticking around. It's going to be kind of hard to show my face if I'm supposed to be dead. And then we finally roll credits.
Is it just the fact that I'm experiencing this whole thing through you, but...
This game specifically being in a mess? No, this game is just a mess.
No, I got that much. But Luciu's showing up. Is there at some point some sort of mannerism or thing that you're like, hey, maybe?
Not really. You could argue that in some of the, like, he seems like the laid back kind of guy, like, you're being too serious. Let's just, in that regard, he is in like his dialogue, but like with his art style, it's kind of hard to portray mannerisms as such. But in his dialogue, sometimes you could argue that he's like given slight Zigbar vibes, and you could put it together from that. But like, if we put Luciu from Union Cross next to Zigbar, which we know is Luciu the entire time we see him, like those personalities don't line up all that well either. As I said before, like Zigbar's personality in the end is actually closer to the Master of Masters than is to Luciu as we see him like at the beginning. Which makes sense.
Well,
He grows and he learns and he becomes more and more like his master.
And I guess he also adapts to what is needed at the moment.
Yeah. I don't think playing through this game, coming to this scene, almost anybody would have had a moment where they called it. Like, if you called it, it's because statistically there's like 7 characters.
He has to be one.
And if you're assuming that he's one of them, you've got like a 1 in 5 chance because he's not going to be Ericus or Xehanort.
Nah.
So you've got like a 20% chance to get it right. That's, I think, the only way to call this ahead of time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's fun though, because it literally means that he's been stalking Xehanort since he was a child. Because he was in his friend group as like a teenager, and then when he was an old man, Luciu showed up again as Zigbar, or Break rather, to insert himself back into Xehanort's life again. So who fucking knows? Maybe like middle-aged Xehanort also knew somebody who turns out to be Luciu. I don't know. Could be a side spin-off game. But that was just to roll credits. You know this is made by Disney, right?
Yeah.
You know what Disney likes?
Alright.
Post-credit scenes.
Let's get it done.
I think you're going to not like this one. After the credits, we go back to the scene of baby Xehanort being given to the blue robed guy. The scene where we ended with the post-credit scene with Union Cross itself as well. The man takes Xehanort to the Destiny Islands, where Xehanort slowly grows up. And one night, when Xehanort is about 7 or so years old, he asks I think I have a screenshot of that. Yeah, he's cute.
No.
He asks the blue-robed figure, the Child of Destiny? Is that me? And the figure says, yes. Your great-great-grandfather was a renowned Keyblade wielder. And you, Xehanort, are a very special boy. You will meet and interact with a lot of people in your life, and those interactions will shape your emotions and your heart, putting you in the path that you are destined to be on. Meanwhile, the Master of Masters is just peeking around the corner.
Hello.
I've got opinions about that. Xehanort asks, how is that possible? We're the only ones here. And the figure tells him that one day, Xehanort will leave this island. Xehanort says, I thought I was supposed to stay here so the darkness couldn't find me. And the figure says, yes, for now. But when you're older and stronger, you can go out and see other worlds. He asks if that means that he can finally go see his mom again. He doesn't really remember her, but he really wants to go see her. Oh, and those kids from his dreams, too. Can I go meet those? And the figure asks Xehanort, tell me about those dreams. So Xehanort describes the characters from Union Cross, one after another. Ventus, Brain, Ephemer, Skald, Lorium. All those people that we actually like. Characters that we actually like.
Uh-huh.
He says those 5 people, and there's one more. And that last person kind of looks like the blue robe figure. The figure gathers Xehanort into a hug, telling him that he can sense what is in the hearts of others. And without a doubt, he is the Child of Destiny. He says that he has experienced much in his 2 lifetimes, but there's still so much left to tell Xehanort. In his first lifetime, there was a book that spoke of the future. It was given to a dear friend of his, but most of its contents were kept hidden. In his second life, he learns that darkness was to prevail and light expire, but that a Child of Destiny would change this outcome. A child who would be able to feel and share what others felt in their hearts, even connecting with other hearts and becoming one. The child would hail from the Isles of Destiny. The figure, by now, notices that Xehanort has just fallen asleep through the story. He's a 7-year-old boy, it's like midnight. And says that maybe it's still too soon to tell him. But that Xehanort's dreams are memories that the figure still, all these years later, holds dear. Xehanort saw what was in the figure's heart. And on his journey, after he leaves the island, he will do the same with many people that he meets. But be careful. Not all hearts are filled with light and goodness. Some will try to poison you with hatred and darkness. But in the end, he believes that Xehanort will truly become light Light's master, because coursing through his veins is the blood of a dear friend of the figure, Aphima, Xehanort's great-great-grandfather.
What?
And that's the end. Want to recap that real quick, because that was a lot in a very short time period.
Yeah.
What did you gather out of that, first and foremost? I want to see, like, I know it's like 11 p.m. and you had a long day.
Well, my understanding was that we, our player character from the previous part of this thing, reincarnated into Xehanort, but then he also is the great grandson of the other guy. So
Well, those two aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. Yeah, so I lie to you because when the game lies to me, I just lie to you as well.
Fair.
The end of Union Cross doesn't explicitly say that Xehanort reincarnates, or the player reincarnates into Xehanort. What it does is it says you will reincarnate, and then shows this scene of a baby being handed to the blue-robed guy. The reincarnated player is the blue-robed guy, not the baby.
God damn it.
There's nobody in this world who would have interpreted this scene that way, and they knew that. So Xehanort was never a reincarnation of the player. It's the blue-robed guy, which I think at this point has been confirmed will also be the player character in the upcoming mobile game, which keeps getting delayed. Xehanort having those memories of everybody else, like Ventus and Ephemer and whatever, is because Xehanort has, much like Baldur, which is what makes him similar, a special talent for connecting to people's hearts and feeling what they feel and sharing their memories and hearts, Keyblade, darkness.
Blah, blah, yeah. So he's...
Much like Sora does as well.
Right. So the dreams he's been having come from the heart of the blue robe figure.
Yes. A couple of last things
But then the blue robe figure, the whole speech he just did implied that he thinks that Xehanort is going to be what eventually will be Sora. That like the light thingy.
He thinks that Xehanort is the child of destiny, and it is very clear to anybody who has played any of these games that that description fits Sora and not Xehanort. So the idea is that Sora is this child of destiny that was actually born on the Destiny Islands, unlike Xehanort, who was just kind of like put there. And through growing up, Sora eventually is the person who prevents the world from falling to darkness and makes sure that light can prevail after all. But they didn't know that. They just figured, hey, this child might be important. Let's put him on Destiny Islands to fulfill this prophecy. They were trying to like force Xehanort into like a chosen one role, and Xehanort thinks that he is the chosen one as a result of that. So that is why in that Corridor of Darkness, he's like, I need to open myself to the darkness. The prophecy says the chosen one will be a vessel for darkness, which means that Sora's gonna have to be a vessel for darkness, I guess. I don't know. I have theories. That's also at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, where Xehanort says somebody had to make like this choice to summon Kingdom Hearts and like purge the world and restart all over again. And Sora's like, that's not your choice to make. And Xehanort thinks, yeah, the fuck it was. I am the chosen one, motherfucker.
Well, he's still the chosen one. He's just the bad guy chosen one.
Well, he's literally chosen by the Master of Masters to be that. Yeah. So that is Xehanort's backstory and a little bit of like nomenclature that we're probably going to use moving forward. That being the child of destiny, chosen one. So Sora started the series off as the chosen one of the Keyblade. Then everybody got Keyblades, and the writers were like, fuck, we gotta come up with something new for the chosen one. So now he's the child of destiny. And I personally still think that he might not be, but I think it's quite late, so we probably shouldn't get into that right now.
Yeah.
Do you have any other things to ask, complain about, mention other words.
Quite a bit, but I think we'll save that for the next one, which is going to be a short one anyway, so we have time to allow.
Yeah, this recording's been about 3 hours and then some.
Yeah.
So this is quite a long one. Next time, yeah, so real quick heads up for anybody watching this. First and foremost, thank you for watching this. Like at this point, we've got a couple hundred people pretty regularly tuning into me torturing you, so that's quite interesting.
It's good to know that I have some other people who are tortured with me.
I think they're more so in just like it's not masochism, right? That's when you like being hurt. Sadism. I think it's more sadism than masochism. But so thanks everybody for joining in. Thank you for allowing me to fry your brain for the last like year and a half. Next time we have one more game left, right? Which is Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. The story of Melody of Memory is kind of just what we've been doing over the past year and a half, and that is recapping the entire Kingdom Hearts story up until that point. So I'm not going to do that because I spent a year and a half doing that, okay?
Been there, done that, yeah.
There's like 3 or 2 actually relevant cutscenes with new content. So I said this is the last video that I'm going to be taking notes for. That is because the notes for that video is going to be like probably less than a page. We're going to go through that in like 10 to 20 minutes. Then we'll do a little bit more discussion about the series as a whole, thoughts, theories, whatever. If anybody is watching this and wants to like drop some questions in the comments as well, for either of us, please do feel free to. We might be able to get to them. I don't know when we'll record it, but we'll probably record a little bit sooner than we usually do if it's up to me, but we'll talk about that in a moment after we finish recording. And then we have a little fun extra bit to just like round out the episode planned that we can do. And after that, Kingdom Hearts is officially done until it isn't. But at this pace, Missing Link, which is the next mobile game, which is supposed to be coming out, is probably like a 2025 kind of thing. And I don't know if that's going to come out in chapters. If it is, we're not going to do an episode for each chapter because those episodes will be like 30 minutes long.
And that would take entirely too long. So
yeah, so we're going to wait until like the entirety of Missing Link is done. I think that we'll, if it's up to me, do Missing Link pretty quickly after it wraps up, whenever that might be. And then I think the next thing after that is Kingdom Hearts 4, probably. And that thing, same, I will personally play through it at whatever pace I want to play through it, which is probably going to be really fucking quick. And then I will go through the cutscenes, and we'll probably, like, within a month have an episode recorded for that, I would guess, but I don't know. In the meantime, though, next time you're in the seat, right? Well,
Yep.
not next time, but, like, after we finish up Kingdom Hearts.
next time I'm, well, not next time, but the next thing we're gonna discuss, I'm gonna fry your brain, finally.
It's about time.
Yeah. Which means I now have to do a bunch of work.
Welcome to my hell.
Well, I have to condense 75 years of actual history, which is going to be fun. But then we're going to talk about something that I know a fuck ton about, and you absolutely nothing. Looking forward to that.
That's I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm going to drop one little thing just as like a stay tuned. I already know after we finish up your project, which I don't know how many episodes it's going to be, but it's going to be less than a year and a half, I think.
Yeah.
After that, I have already decided the next game we're going to be doing from my side, and yours is not a game, by the way, I should point out, for people watching. It's something entirely different. I want to do Undertale, because you're never going to play Undertale, and I would be very opposed to discussing the story and the world of Undertale with somebody who has any chance in hell of ever playing it, because it's a game that you need to experience first and foremost. You're never going to do that because it's a bullet hell game. So I can like lore fry your brain with that, and I feel like during Kingdom Hearts, the parts that you liked the most were the parts where it got like very meta.
Uh-huh.
Undertale is like non-stop that.
All right. Yeah.
So I think you're going to like it. So everybody stay tuned. Next time, more Kingdom Hearts, then some other stuff, then Undertale, and I've got another thing, but I'm not going to tell you what that is yet because I want your live reaction on video when we actually cover it, but that's going to be months from now. So
Yeah.
I'm going to shut up. I'm going to sleep because it's late.
That. Bye.